got a question.
Fire.
To Constructive Outrage, episode 108, and it's a very special one because we're going to get to go deep into the mind of Will Harbottle, ladies and gentlemen, and that's just off the jump. We also got Miggity Marcos in the house tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We also, you know what? Instead of me just talking about it, let's be about it. Let's first start off with the Bronx Bully himself, weighing 130 pounds when he's wet. Give it up for. Hey. Sorry.
What an intro.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, from Michigan, home birthplace of Connie's Rib Shack.
Oh,
Give it up for the curator of statues, the gatherer of peoples, the collector's collector, Marcos. Yeah. That's what's up. Ladies and gentlemen, you see him there. He's shining bright. But you gotta be real for a second.
I'm 3 bars.
There's a lot of imitators, a lot of fake Darths out there. People that aren't even force sensitive. People that got their lore powers from a Cracker Jack box. But this brother ain't one of them. We got the real deal. This ain't Shane the Darth Lord. This ain't Darth Rashid. This is Darth.
Good Lord. Thor
Gunderson himself, the Sith Lord, ladies and gentlemen.
I am very happy to be here.
Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, we got the Sorcerer Supreme of sculpting, the Picasso of portraits, the Pootie Tang of posing.
Not Pootie Tang.
Pootie Tang.
We got the conductor of beautiful face. The conductor of beautiful face sculpts. Give it up for Will Harbottle.
Yeah. Pootie Tang, baby.
He has no idea what he got into.
Welcome. Former introduction, but it's an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
And we got somebody who snuck in. We got to check his late pass. We got the Wrangler of Sculptors. We got the person who has to make the hard decisions to give you that hard no. The person that's on the front line in these comments battling all of the people who think they know what they're talking about but have no clue. Give it up for Anthony.
There you go.
What's up, guys? What's up?
That's an avatar. That's AI right there.
Yeah, that's AI, all right.
So I told him that Anthony's going to be joining us. He's just finishing up with some work, and Will called you on your BS.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I went looking for Will. I went in the office. I was like, "Where's Will at?" I was like,
Dude, I came home. I need to be able to concentrate.
We're about to have some fun tonight. We're going to get deep in the mind of Will, but Will, just on a general level, how you doing? How you feeling?
Good. Oh man, I'm loving life. I got the best job in the world.
Sideshow been killing it lately. If Critical Mass was here, he would attest to. all of us would attest to. But you guys are doing some fantastic work, and we're going to get into that. But I'll be remiss if we don't address the people that could have been anywhere, but they chose to be with us tonight. People like Jesse Hernandez in the house chilling with us. What up, Jesse Hernandez? Let's get some music going for them, because they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all could have been anywhere tonight, but y'all chose to be here with us, and for that we are grateful. And we want to just give a shout out to all of the homies talking about random Korean. You hit that random button, you never know what Korean is gonna pop out. So we got the best one right now. Random Korean, ladies and gentlemen. We got Mr. Fuego himself, who will be at STATUECON, ladies and gentlemen. Venom Tech, it'll be so dope to see you again if I manage to get my lazy ass out there. We got
Lazy, good Lord.
We got Theodore up in the house chilling, saying what's up to the c.o.c homies. We got Eric Thompson. What's up, everyone? Time to take that c.o.c.
Yeah.
We got them self-edits going right now. We got Elijah Mack, who be hitting me up with some of the funniest memes I just wake up to sometimes. Him and Edwin Diaz, bro. We got Battle Cat, who is a fantastic artist in himself. This is what's so cool when you get to meet people out in the community. There's a lot of talent that is like, you will never guess. You just be like, he'll just show you, yo, look at this Jordan. And it's like some of the most detailed stuff. I'm like, yo, you do this as a hobby? Crazy. Mr. Kennedy doing double duty. Shout out AK. We got Ledge the Legend. Is Legend confirmed to be over there at STATUECON, Mr. Marcos?
He's thinking about it.
Okay, think a little harder, Ledge. Think a little harder.
He's thinking.
We
he
got
came last year, but he's thinking about it.
Jesse.
He's spending too much money on new statues.
Hernandez. Yeah, he be buying a lot of shit.
Yeah, he does.
We got one of my new favorite people who be going behind the scenes at events. We got Graded HQ who be bringing us some fine videos of some of the statues we all love and want to see up close. That is much appreciated. I'm already losing my voice because I've been at it today. I was screaming at people at work. We got my favorite Alabama resident. All of Alabama lore, Archangel. 0407, not 6, not 3, this specific one right here. The homie. Shout out to Archangel and the folks over there at Collective Minds doing their thing on Sundays. Who else we got in the chat? Alan Kiefer, one of the most elegant, beautiful collections you'll find on God's green earth.
For sure.
We got it. He got it. We got my brother from another mother, Peter Parker fan. He's a Spider-Man connoisseur. I love this dude. I got to speak with him a couple of times on a couple of different panels. Brenton, good to see you here, homie. Good to see you here, homie. All right. We got this guy. Marcus in the building. Collector Zone in the building. The place to be, August 7th through the 10th. Get your tickets. You can go to Ticketmasters.
LiveNation.com.
Tickets already.
So you're saying I should charge? Is that what you're trying to do?
I'm like, people don't realize that this event is so much fun, and if they can charge, I'm not telling you to charge. I don't think you should charge. You know, my cheap ass don't want you to charge. But the fact that you don't have to charge and you can go over there, hang out, group up, meet and greet, and see some of these statues the fact that it's free. Hey, that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want you raising price. We got Dion in the house. Give it up for Dion, ladies and gentlemen. Yo, we got the Puerto Rican deacon in the building who probably owns more Sideshow shit that he could fit in a one room. I've never seen wall to wall statues, and the majority of them are Sideshow. Give it up for Dennis Perez in the building.
Love Dennis.
Yeah. We got Jimmy, Godlike Statues. You could catch him on his channel doing similar stuff that we do, putting a spin on things. Love to see the community just thriving. What else we got? What else we got? We got my favorite day of the week, my favorite show on that favorite day of the week. Casual Nerd Problems in the motherfucking house. Give it up for Casual CMP. Man, that rainstorm took out my internet, and he came and hosted the show so that we can still have a show that day. Much respect for CMP. One of the real ones. We got Kamoya Gaming. Saying what's up to Jimmy. Shout out. We got Comic Galaxy in the building. Galaxy far, far away. Who else? Yo. Need I say more? He's one of the reasons that I'm seriously like, don't want to show up at STATUECON unfit. Because this dude's arms, he collect beast statues. I'm talking about Godzilla. I'm talking about those big titans. And when you see him, you know why. Because he can lift them and he can move them. And then when you stand next to him, he makes you feel inadequate about yourself. And your choice to sit on your butt playing video games instead of going to the gym. I don't like that. I don't like you, Beast, but I love you. I love you for that. We got Dion talking to the peoples. Archangel in the building. It's incredible how many great panel members will come on if Rashid doesn't show. You know what? I've been getting that feedback a lot.
I agree. I've been
hearing that a lot lately. So no, shout out to Doc Rashid in the voice. We have scroll down. We got my boy Eric. We got my boy Vanna. We got Eddie. Shout out to Eddie in the building. Eddie don't need no icon, no profile pic. E for everyone. That's what's up. Shout out to Knight. Knight is always there to leave a comment saying good show, boys. And it's much appreciated. It feeds my ego. It makes me want to do it again. Doom, doom, doom. And just some bum. All right. So what we want to do, since we do have a new, first time guest, we got to get to know him a bit. So let me load this music down. And we're gonna peel the mind of Will Harbottle back layer by layer. We're gonna go layer by layer. So we're gonna start with, let's see here. How did you obtain your sculpting powers? A, was it wizardry, meaning you possess a very high intelligence, enabling you to study all forms of tomes to master the art of sculpting?
Ooh.
Was it B, sorcery? At some point in your lineage, a human ancestor made sweet love to a mystical being like a dragon, fae, giant, and through your bloodline, you were born with the power to sculpt? Or C, warlock? You made a pact with a demon and sold your soul to gain the ability to sculpt these fine, beautiful statues.
Poor Will.
C. All about C.
I knew it. When did you find out that you had that gift?
Very late in life, actually. I'm ancient, so I've had a bunch of careers before this. But really, I went to school to study writing. I wanted to be a writer, write books. And I tried that for a long time, way too long, actually. So I had a bunch of jobs while I did that. I was a glass blower for a bunch of years. I was a potter for a bunch of years. But I'd always been, going back to when I was a little kid, I always, was an artist or, drew and stuff like that. Anyway, so I tried the writing thing for a long time, 10 years, and it wasn't making me happy, but I didn't realize it. I was just, kind of plowing forward, trying to do it. Anyway, and it just so happened that down the hall from where I worked as a glass blower, there was this really cool studio. And I went in there one day and I was like, holy shit, this is cool, man. They did prototyping for action figures, like Marvel Legends and all that kind of stuff. So I would just go down there and hang out because, man, like their lobby, when you walked into their studio, just looks like your guys' places. They had stuff all over. And, I was like, wow, I started to realize I've been really way too serious for way too long, trying to, up in my head, trying to write these smart books and stuff like that. And here I can come here and hang out with these dudes and be a kid again and remember all that stuff that I loved and gave me so much joy all my life, from, comic books to the movie stuff and everything like that. Anyway, so I hung out with them for a bunch, and then they needed a little help. And so I, just gave them a little hand here and there. And really, the first night I took a project home to work on, I was like, holy shit, this is more fun than I've had in 10 years. I mean, this is just, immediately I knew this is fun. And what I realized is I wanted to be a writer, but I didn't like writing. Here I found something that I like the process of, you know what I mean? I like the 1 hour into it, and the second hour into it, and the third hour into it. I'm like, I'm losing time because I'm just into the moment. And literally it was a day that I was like, yeah, this is different. This is what I need to fill my life with. So anyway, that's a long story, but that's basically.
Not to cut you off or jump in. What was that project, Will? Or should I not ask?
Oh no!
No. There we go.
You need to know.
It was a snake. He was sculpting a snake.
No, we had. Oh my gosh, nobody will even remember this stuff. We had the place I was working for did a line of E.T. action figures.
Phone home.
Nice.
Yeah. So
you had to sculpt an E.T.?
I sculpted an E.T. and I sculpted a Elliot, and I
Elliot, Red Hood and everything.
the bike,
Nice,
all that stuff. So anyway, but I was just really into the thing, you know what I mean? And so I was doing personal projects left and right. I did my first full statue. I'm looking around to see if I can find it. Where is it? My first full statue, anyway, was a bullseye. Because Bullseye was my favorite character from Marvel. I don't know why. I just fell in love with Bullseye. And so I did a Bullseye, he's got the card in his hand. He's about ready to fling it.
Man, but it's always interesting because, there's a lot of people who aren't motivated. The more you get up there in age, the more or less motivated they get because they feel like industry sort of pushes you out. With you said something in a quote. It was in your artist profile where you said, "My God, I am better in 2 weeks at this than I had been in 10 years of sculpting." Ooh, right?
That's when I went digital. Yeah.
That's when. That's when you was coming from. That's something scary though because you've learned traditional sculpting, and then you was like, yo, for me to actually get serious about this, and I remember, I won't rehash it because if you guys want to know, Jeff Delaney did an awesome interview with Will back in the day. But what I took from that too was just sort of like you're never too up there, whatever age you think you are, because everybody thinks they're old, wherever they are in their stage of life. There's just time passes, right? But it's never too late to learn something new, man. It's crazy. We got some dude that's in the video game space that is tearing it up, learned very late in life, just sort of, but he's open to it. And some people just find it, and when they do, it's a wrap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I discovered that learning is fun. I mean, and once, if you find something that you love to learn, like your lane, that you're into, and you get energy from the outside. You don't always you don't have to motivate yourself. You don't always have to dig deep and pull it out because the energy comes to you. And then and suddenly it becomes easy.
Yeah, and then it feeds off itself.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. If you're doing what I was doing, writing, where you're beating your ass every day, every night, think about it, because there are other things that don't feel like that.
You know what? I honestly think you didn't have the right opportunity in writing. So here's what we're gonna do for you today. Right?
Oh no! Oh god!
So,
C.O.c. Why am I sweating?
Got hot.
we here at c.o.c is looking for a new writer to helm our sci-fi project. We want to be super badass, powerful, have crazy good powers, but that's all we got. So you could take me as a character, and I'm a very great actor because I'll be playing myself, so you don't have to worry about the acting. Your lines will be delivered perfectly. AK, like when you look at AK, what type of power set, what type of goals, what type of, hero or anti-hero or villain would AK be in a well-funded c.o.c sci-fi adventure?
Okay, like super swimmer or something. Like it.
Super swimmer.
Super swimmer.
I say
Only in
Kool-Aid
pools,
Man,
though,
but
not-
like
not
something like
like
Kool-Aid Man, just bust the. No, just
It's
kidding.
very limited.
Kool-Aid Man.
His mutant
This
powers
is
are
Will's
very
writing, though. We're gonna let Will do this.
I'm going mastermind, man. Like,
Mastermind.
I see
Yeah,
mastermind.
okay. All right.
He's like, all right, I'm a fan now.
All right. So we got our mask. I like that. I even like the name.
Yep.
What would I be in this in Will's version of c.o.c sci-fi adventure?
An asshole.
Yes. That's burnt into the. That is definitely a trait that we can get in there.
I'd have to think about the powers, but you're clearly a front man. I mean, like, there's no question, man.
Yay.
You got the the personality that entertains the group. So that's clear right away.
Dude, we should just hire him right now. So what happened is there's this other group, Legends, right? And this is where we get our powers from. They're sort of the gods in our universe, and they're called like DCX, right? So what would Thor be in this universe? What would Thor Gunderson be in the c.o.c sci-fi adventure?
Jesus.
He's cooking right now. This script is going to be approved right away.
He's thoughtful. I mean, like, you can see behind his eyes there. He's thinking.
Ooh, to the soul.
Yeah.
I like that. Unfortunately, we have to ask you about Darth Rashid, who's not here right now. I don't know if you know who Darth Rashid is.
We got
no idea who Darth
we have a
Rashid-
picture or something? Can we?
No,
We want to know.
No, we missed it. So Anthony Mestas.
Don't listen to Mestas. Mestas hates him.
He represents a
True
I
hate.
love
corporation.
it. I love it.
Darth Rashid is
It
in
makes
the
me
top 10
stronger.
FBI most wanted.
We got
That's the
okay. So
idea.
Anthony Mestas, he represents a corporation. We won't say whose names. Who
Lord.
they peddle in getting the world beautiful artifacts that they can put around their spaces or ships wherever we are. I don't know. That's for you to figure out. But Anthony Mestas, what type of power, broker, whatever, like what would he be in our universe?
Immediately went absorbing man's for some reason.
The Absorbitron.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's because Will knows my office. He's
That's
all
a badass
the
power,
in here.
though. I mean, the absorbing man has got a cool power. That's cool, man.
There we go.
That's a very cool power.
I'm
I think he's
down.
an awesome character.
totally down.
Yeah. In
Incredible
this world,
character.
there is a Mecha Gandhi type figure who
Not
leads
Gandhi.
Gandhi.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like Mecha.
like
He
an
leads
SNL
people
film.
to the promised land where all of their dreams and greatest statues are there, surrounded by them, about people you love, and it's just this. It's almost kumbaya, but then there's a lot of rowdiness too. And so like Marco will probably play. What would Marco be in that space? Like if he was to play that character?
I'm stumped.
Yeah. Oh, we stumped them, boys. Uh-oh.
I don't know, Crippler. You made him sound like a Willy Wonka of statues over there.
He's kind of freaky. Yo, Marco is kind of
That ain't too
freaky.
far.
So that ain't too far. Okay, Marcus, you are the
I'd like to
Willy
see him in
Wonka.
a top hat. Let's get him in a top hat.
There you go. See?
Ladies and gentlemen, come down.
A
Okay.
purple coat.
All right.
No way.
So yeah.
Can be anything the opposite of what.
All right. I just submit. We got portal technology over here at c.o.c. So we already submitted the script. It's been approved. Will Harbottle will be writing and perhaps directing our new c.o.c. We don't have a name yet. He can figure it out. c.o.c. sci-fi adventure. But let's go another layer. So this line of questioning is designed to be as efficient with a question as possible, so we can drill down a little further in a little bit of time, or a little bit less about the time. It's called Double Up. 2 questions, and then we'll just start, and you'll get it. When was comics at its peak, and how do you feel about comics today?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. You know, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. My favorite era of comics was actually not what I grew up with. And I grew up in the 70s, so which was a great era of comics.
Yeah.
But I think like the early 2000s, I loved that era.
Is that around the Marvel Now stuff?
I really, I hope I don't alienate anybody here, but I loved the Ultimate Universe. I just love that.
I'm your homie. Me too. Like literally every statue that I got is to replicate that era of comic.
The way it worked for me was I sort of felt like the Ultimate, many versions of the Ultimate characters were what I thought I was reading when I was 13. You know what I mean? But like you go back and you read that stuff when you were 13, you're like, Hulk wasn't nearly as cool as he was in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you saw Ultimate Hulk, you're like, that's the Hulk that I remember when I was 13.
Raging.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Pete David was doing some of his best stuff with the Hulk at that time. That's an awesome. We got Miles there, another take on Spider-Man for another generation, which was cool.
Yeah.
And with these double ups. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just love the Ultimates. You know that whole. I grew up as an Avengers fan. Avengers was my comic.
Avengers.
So I liked I read all the individuals that were, like I read Iron Man and I read Thor and I read all that kind of stuff because I liked anybody who was part of the Avengers. But anyway, the Ultimates was like the Ultimate Avengers. That's that was and of course that's that influenced the movies so much.
Absolutely, and that's where they pulled from. A lot of those character types were based off of the Ultimate Universe for sure. How do you feel about comics today?
I unfortunately am not as tied in nowadays as I would like to be. You know what I mean? It's probably been, I gotta be honest, it's probably been 10 years since I regularly went every Wednesday night and got new comic book night and all that kind of stuff. So I'm, life got in the way. I got a 14-year-old daughter now, and but that's no excuse. That sucks. It's a bummer. I miss it.
No, I think there's something to be said there though, because like my pull, like it's so stacked up. I haven't been there for a while. Like I want to talk to Brenton because I know Brenton knows how to navigate modern comics, but for me, everything I try is not hitting the same or bringing me that type of joy. And I always wonder, is it just me, like just outgrowing it? But I'm like, no, because there's a lot of stuff that I should outgrow that I'm not outgrowing a lot. So I'm like, I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
But with these questions, I also would like to know from you guys, Mestus, what about you? When do you feel comics was at its
that's kind of an easy one for me because I was never a huge comic book guy. I think I mentioned that probably prior. I was more about the art rather than the story. So I was very visual. So in high school, it was always, my buddies that were into comics, I'd be like, oh, I'd take their comics home and read Wolverine or X-Men or anything like that. As a kid, I loved them, but it was for the art, and it was more for the stuff that I was into, which was monsters and everything. So I was always dialing into strange stories and GI combat and all these weird things that had dinosaurs crossing over with the military, and they're always wacky stories. A lot of the weird Kirby art, because he has always drawn these weird monsters that were just that were off the charts. And then if it was story wise, it was always something like I forget the name of the series, but it was always like they were very Twilight Zoney. It was like Boris Karloff hosted, and it had like 3 stories in the comic. He always had these elaborate painted covers. And
you're old. I remember those.
Yeah, I'm right behind you. and so I mean that was the stuff that I liked. And then of course you throw in Godzilla when Marvel was doing Godzilla, and then as I got older, it was more once again to the artist, which I was always a huge Art Adams fan. So you know, it was like Long Shot, even if you know, it was always a weird, like that's not anybody's favorite. I don't know anybody who goes, hey, I love Long Shot. I don't know anybody who ever says that, but at the time the artwork and everything was, I loved it, you know, all of that stuff. So that's more where I came from. And then later on, I jumped on the Image Comics bandwagon when Spawn hit. That was a big
superstars. They were like rock stars to us.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, my ears peaked. You know, I was like, "What is this?" You know, even though I knew McFarlane, I was never following his. I liked this how he drew Spider-Man and everything, and Venom and all that stuff. But when Spawn hit, it brought me into the Image universe, and then next thing you know, it's like Wetworks and Gen 13, and you know,
I remember all of the
cow stuff,
Darkness, Witchblade,
and it was all because of the artwork. The artwork was just so, you know, it was like nothing that you had seen prior. You know, back in the day, you know, you have your OG guys that you know, Stan Lee and like I said, Kirby and all that did beautiful stuff, but the Image stuff was on a whole other level because they weren't being held to any Marvel or anything like that. They were like unleashed and they were doing their own thing. So, you know, even like Ash Wood doing stuff, you know, where it was more painterly. So that was the stuff that always triggered me. And like Will said, life got in the way, and I'll pop into the comic shop, and it's like I'll buy a comic because of the cover. Yeah, you know, and then I'm just like, oh, all right, and I end up never reading it, or you know, it might inspire ideas for something else, but unfortunately, I haven't really sat down and read anything for some time. Yeah.
And Anthony, was it the Shadowhawk comic book where he paralyzes criminals? He just breaks their back and puts them in a wheelchair.
I think so. I don't.
He doesn't kill them.
I do remember Shadowhawk, but I don't remember really reading too much.
It was Shadowhawk. Yes, it was. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I just thought of a comic book that I is the most recent one that I just devoured. I read all the trades. I just went through the entire run of it. Was I love Lady Mechanica. I just think that just hits me.
That was the other one that I was buying just because of the art, but unfortunately I never got into the storyline, not because I didn't want to. It was just because it started going so fast, but that steampunk artwork was insane.
So good, man. It's the best steam. I got a soft spot for steampunk. I grew up with Wild Wild West and stuff like that. But this, he gets it better than anybody I've ever seen, show or anything. And his art is great. And the stories are out of this world. Like, Anthony, if you get a chance, sit down, on the plane when we fly out to Michigan and read a trade or two.
Funny because I have two of them, and I've just never got into it. The one thing though, now that we're talking about this, the thing that I was always late to, and I remember when it first came out, for some reason it didn't resonate with me, but it was like Mignola's Hellboy, and it had everything that I'm into, and everything, but for some reason the artwork just didn't at the time resonate.
So different. It's so unique.
And then all of a sudden,
very blocky.
Movies come out and some other stuff comes out, and I start paying attention. And I don't know if it was because I matured a little bit more and taste changed or whatever. And I was like, and I started reading the stories, and it's one of the things where you read the stories, and then the stories, actually the artwork becomes secondary, where it was always different with me. It was always the artwork was primary, but the stories, I loved them, and then all of a sudden I started buying so much Hellboy stuff. But the thing is with the Hellboy world, it's fucking all over the place.
There's everywhere.
You can't catch up. I got big tombs of like Abe Sapien side story and some other witch story and a bunch of other stuff, and I'm like, I can't make a dent in this stuff. But everything I do read is awesome. It's so cool. At least for me, right up my alley.
What issue is Savage Dragon on right now?
Oh yeah, Savage Dragon.
That must be straight up there. Eric Larson.
They still doing that?
Oh yeah.
Remember, it was like the Max. You remember the Max, and then they had the animated thing on MTV.
Yep. I remember. And Spawn's still going, right? Spawn's like your Guinness
Spawn's
World
best
Record of
definitely
like
going,
continuous issues. I think
Yeah.
Wow,
it's up
man.
there.
Yeah, and he
Oh,
has
wow.
like 4 or 5 spin-off titles.
Incredible.
Of Savage Dragon?
No, a Spawn.
Spawn.
Oh, Spawn. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I regret to interrupt this presentation to bring you
Oh Lord.
I'm out of here.
West Coast finest.
Oh,
Oh,
The
okay.
side.
okay.
Give it up for
I'll-
Critical
I'll-
Mass. Where's your late pass, homie?
It's called Traffic in LA, coming out of downtown LA, and
Ugh.
jury
As for
duty.
your late pass, not your excuses. Just kidding. Welcome, homie.
Go back to the court officer and tell him to give you a
They
note.
still got you doing jury duty?
No. Yeah. They
Yeah.
thought it was going to end today, but nope, we're going to push over to
No.
tomorrow. So
Just
9
be
o'clock.
like, just be
Gotta
like, I
be
know
there.
who did it. I know who
Yeah,
did
just
it.
act-
Let's
act
go.
Give it
crazy.
to everybody. It's not guilty. No
Yeah.
one's guilty.
I'm judging everybody. I'm judging.
There you
Hey,
go.
but I want to ask Will. I want to
Yeah.
be a superhero too.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Remember we met at a Sideshow.
Oh,
yeah, I brought it.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
yeah. Dude, you are a gas. I loved you. That's right. Yeah, man.
I'm
All
the
right,
guy.
so let's see what type of special
Really,
hero
Critical Mass,
Will
tell us again how you
Will
went to
cooked
Sideshow.
up for.
Yeah, AK. Hey,
A lot of
AK. You
haters.
know I went to Sideshow.
A lot of haters going on. Here.
You weren't you there more than once? Weren't you?
No, you came
No,
in once.
just
just
the
one
once.
time.
Okay.
But hopefully I can come back if Anthony invites me.
Hey, man, you're always welcome. Just don't
Well, I
bring
gotta-
Rashid. You can bring, maybe you can bring AK. I don't know, man. I'm on the fence, man. AK gives me a bunch of. He's like Rashid's bodyguard.
He is. He
Oh,
is.
I'm telling you right now, you invite me, I'm sneaking him in. That's how it works in New York.
Yep.
Pay for
Just
the
like
once, everyone jumps in.
Yeah.
everybody jumps in.
Crash the
So
gate.
he deals with our security mostly, the Critical Mass. He's like the muscle. So I don't know how you would work that into a c.o.c script.
There you
He's
go.
also a
Look at
bus
this.
driver.
Dang.
He's a big boy.
That's some
He's a
some
big
guns.
dude. Do you guys do a background check before you get allowed in the Sideshow?
We should.
No, because I got in.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
I'm saying.
they let us in.
All right.
All right.
So
AK never passed that. I'm just letting you know.
Thor Gunderson, same question, because I know you got history with this. When was comics at its peak? And where do you feel it's at right now?
Easy for me was the 90s. Rodney had me reading The Punisher, and it was a time during the 90s. The Punisher.
Shout out to Rodney.
He had 4 books going. It was The Punisher, Warzone, War Journal, and Armory. And after I got over, 'cause I was like, oh, this is just a dude with a gun, but it was much more than that, you know what I mean? And then you had X-Men with Jim Lee, and Jim Lee was drawing a Punisher actually too.
Yes,
And
it
then
was.
Maximum Carnage came out, and then like Anthony say, that's when Image came out and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't big in the Image, but like I could respect like far as the artwork, like you said,
Yeah.
and everything. And then I remember when they did Deathmate, when they crossed over with Valiant, that was like a huge, big thing and everything, And so yeah, for me, it was, I was in high school, and so like we would go to like every month they had a convention and everything, and we would hit the conventions, and then you had like anime was was just coming out like for us, and it was been out, but that was when the boom happened for me, and then later on, like toward the end of the 90s, that's when I don't call myself Thor because of this, but that's when I started reading Thor, and I think it was one of the Kubert brothers had drawn. It was around 99. And when Thor fought Gladiator, and it was like 2 books, and I was like, man, this is amazing. You know what I mean? So for me, it was the 90s. But like now, I mean, they try and inject too much agenda in there, and everything. And they just like, I hate when like they take like, I mean, sort of like this Silver Surfer thing. They just to say it's a woman, you got the Silver Surfer, and they make, even though they say it's an alternate universe and everything, but like if you've been waiting all this time and you a Silver Surfer fan and it's a chick, you be like, come on, man, you know what I mean? Because I'm gonna tell you, if they ever make Vader a woman, that's the last day. That's the last day,
announcement?
bro. That's the last day you gonna see the Magic Kingdom. Oh, bro, tomorrow that castle is gone. Trust.
No. And you know what they'll do too?
Iran ain't got shit on me. Trust.
And that's the thing. They'll make it seem like we're against women characters when that's not the case. It's just we really wanted to see a character on screen that we haven't seen in its true form. So give us that, and then go wherever you want with it.
Right.
Give us what we've been waiting for.
And one more thing I wanted to shout out before we got too far. I wanted to shout out my boy Cash and Gemini, man. You know, 2 weeks ago I turned 50, and he sent me this Vader print, man, and everything. So that brought actual tears to the Dark Lord, man. You know, so big ups to Cash, man. I appreciate it.
Shout out to the BBC.
Love you, bro.
We got a rivalry with them, but it's all love. Yeah, no, but that's dope. But yeah, no, and then AK.
Yes, sir.
What you got for us? Comics.
Dude cannot read.
Okay, Marcos. What do you got?
AK and I have been going at it for a bit.
Even at New York Comic Con, we were still going at it.
I know we're still at it.
I agree with Thor. That beginning of the 90s to mid 90s, because you had like major stories, like you had the Infinity Gauntlet, which was a major crossover.
I forgot about that. Yeah,
Extinction Agenda, which was a big X-Men crossover. That was big, and then that led into the McFarlane Spider-Man, the Lee X-Men, the Liefeld, all that. I think that was like its high point. Those were just. It wasn't just the covers that grabbed you. The interior panels were drawn beautifully. Today's panels, it's trash. I'm sorry to say. It's scribbled. They don't take. But the thing is, they don't take the time to detail the buildings, the backgrounds, the things that catch you while reading. You're not reading just the word bubbles. You actually look at the picture, and that was art itself back then. Now they just scribble along and keep it moving, and it's like, what am I reading?
That's my biggest problem with now. My biggest problem with now is the paper. The paper is so cheap now, dude. Like, you used to get that sort of almost like a gloss, almost paper with like heavy duty paper.
Oh, the high bright paper.
Now it's like, it's like what it makes the ink look less. It doesn't pop as much. Like the panels don't pop as much. So I'm like, just the whole experience.
Will and I are going like, man, we used to love that newsprint.
Newspaper, man.
Yeah.
I remember that. Able to see the dots on it. I remember that.
You'd be able to see the halftone on the print.
Yeah, free colors.
That is better than the paper now. Marco, same question. When was comics at its peak for you? And if this goes on too long, let me know, then we can move on. But if anything, I'll ask Will, because go ahead, Will. I meant Marcos.
Okay. 90, I believe Thor got it hit. AK got it right. I was a huge Punisher War Journal. If you lived in the
I seen you doing this when he was mentioning.
If you live in like the inner city stuff, you get kind of fed up a little bit with like the gang life and all the bullshit, and then all of a sudden here comes a hero. I remember one of those covers, man. He had a prostitute on the hood of a car with a.
Did you hear what this guy just said? Did you pick up on that?
It's amazing.
I'm not the only one. This fool said, man, when you live in the hood, pretty much, because he tried to politically correct say in the city. He said, when you live in the hood, it was so good when the shiny blue with light started mowing all of these fools down.
Crippler, shut up and let him speak.
Acts of Vengeance, that's what Crippler does. He's trying to speak the agenda here. Acts of Vengeance was great. Anything West, it was really great. But Punisher was my jam. Fantastic Four was my jam. I didn't go into Avengers very much. I was like, whatever. But you're talking about back in the day, you could look in, you see who the artist was, the inker, the colorist. They all had a specific job. Now there is no colorist, there is no inker. The computer does all that for you. You look in there, and it's just and maybe some kind of like graphic guy or something. That's it. So. But I remember, I used to love like the annuals. Remember the annual graphics?
Yes.
Oh my god! Like in Atlantis Attacks. Do you remember that Atlantis?
Yes.
Attacks? That was awesome, man. That kind of stuff was incredible. So, but Punisher was my jam. I loved him. I loved everything he stood for. Like, man, this guy's rock.
He was kick ass. I was just kidding. I love Punisher. He was just cool. And Critical Mass. When was comics at its peak for you? And where
I would say in the 80s, because I remember for me the comics would come out on the Fridays. I know some places it's Wednesday. So I was working downtown LA at the time, and I didn't have a comic book store close to me. The closest one was in Hollywood. So I would race on my motorcycle after I got off work at 4 o'clock, flying through the streets of LA, going to the comic book store to get my fix. For me, it was definitely the 80s. It was like the Punisher had his first miniseries.
Yeah.
I like Wolverine did a guest appearance in Daredevil. Secret Wars, can't forget about Secret Wars. Spider-Man when he got taken over by the symbiote, but then also when Craven killed him, well, he didn't kill him, he buried him, and he took Spider-Man's suit.
His last stand.
Definitely the 80s into the 90s, and I stopped collecting comics, I would say, like in the early 2000s. I just kind of lost interest. The stories weren't as good as they were. They weren't compelling, and I was like, what am I wasting my money on? So I still got all my comics. I got rows of rows, fill up this whole wall behind me of short boxes.
I got my long boxes that right in the storage right there too, man.
Funny. I got all mine are back in Colorado. Next time I go, I'm gonna have to go in the basement to my grandparents' house, which is now my brother's house. It'd probably be interesting if I go down there and pop those boxes and everything's in there to see what's in there, just to jog the memory and go, what?
I guarantee you got some heat in there, bro.
I got some heat. I got half of mine in the room
retirement right
behind me, and other half in the house.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So next double question, unless Anthony, you wanted to say something?
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say I remember reading Civil War when it first came out, and thinking like, that's awesome. But it went so, once again, it was so crazy that, and it spun off to everyone had their own separate story that I didn't keep up with it. But the initial one that kind of set the stage when they're down there. The young, mutants are down there doing their thing. It's the TV show, and they go and they fuck everything up. And
freaking what's his name? Cannonball.
Yeah,
Cannonball in the voice.
Yeah, blew up the whole, killed a bunch of people. And I was like, this is amazing. Like this concept is great. And then it kind of just blew up into something.
What year was that? That
was early 2000s, like 06.
It goes to Will's point of like 2000s had some.
What year was House of M?
06.
I love
House
that.
That was
later.
2001, I think.
House of M.
Oh, really? I was that old? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it was just after Avengers Disassembled.
Okay, well, we're going another layer deep.
Oh man.
When was Sideshow Collectibles at its peak? How do you feel about them now?
Shit.
That's a good question.
Better get this right, Will. I'm going to report you.
That's what this really is. This is a report card that Anthony's got you on.
Yeah.
It's hard to be. I mean, what was going on in the whole statue world? Say like 5 years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, or something like that. We were making so much stuff. Basically, the like I don't want to say industry, but the collecting world was so strong and so big then that we really could do a lot of things. We have to be a little more strategic today, and sometimes that doesn't give you the room to move. However, we're sort of filling in with a lot more original characters, which as an artist is a lot of fun. I mean, it's really a lot of fun to be working on.
The Deep, I mean, the Vixen line, like all of that stuff. The Lust, the Vampire Lust, like the Succubus, like all of that stuff is some of, I feel personally, is some of the best work coming out of the company right now. Is the original stuff. And the license stuff is beautiful, like Canale's Constantine. Beautiful.
Is it out yet? Is it in anybody's hands yet?
No, it hasn't. I don't think it's in anybody's hands yet.
Because let me just tell you, when you see that thing in person, your hair is going to stand up. It is off the chart, in my opinion.
Among other things.
Yeah. in my opinion, it's the best thing he's ever done. I mean, like it is. And that guy is a legend. I mean, he's done everything. But
I see the socks.
He was really into that piece. Yeah. I mean, it shows just in the sculpt that he really liked that piece, and Martin, I've known him for years, and he likes all the creepy monsters and all that stuff. So I think it allowed him to kind of go back to his roots and have fun, because he's been doing superheroes for so many years that he got the opportunity to go in there and kind of shake it off a little bit and have some fun.
He went Super Saiyan on that thing, dude. Like the folds of the pants, the socks, like all of that stuff is freaking.
Anthony, were you the PM on that thing?
Yeah.
Oh, so you saw it the whole way. I only saw it basically when it was done. No. You're walking down the hall and you go, oh shit, what's that? We've been doing this for so long, and you guys have been collecting for so long. It takes a little something for you to walk by and go, whoa, what is that? You know what I mean? Yeah. And every once in a while when it happens, there's something different going on with that piece.
Yeah, you got some bangers, Will. I got this young lady behind me.
I know, man. I saw it, dude.
Biggin.
Let's see, in Biggin.
There we go.
Nice. And I got Deja Thoris over there.
Oh, and I see Red Sonja back there.
Red Sonja.
You are a man of taste.
Yes, I am.
Oh, man. AK's gonna be hating. AK's gonna hate.
What?
No wonder. Dude, you need to come up for another tour, man.
I will.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Dude, some of the pieces, and we'll look at some of them too, but some of the pieces people are mentioning is crazy. Red Sonja, Queen of the Scavengers, will stay in my collection for life. That's my favorite Sideshow piece. Still years later. Shout out to Duck Rogers. Yeah, but it's weird for me. Sideshow, coming into Sideshow was they always did great work, right? And so it's cool because a lot of the old stuff holds up, but then you guys got the stuff that you guys got going on now. I don't know, is that you guys are mostly digital now, or where that transition happened? And I know there's a lot of nuts and bolts that goes into it, but I don't remember an output, because you guys always had output, but I don't remember an output this aggressive that matches the quality. Usually there's a quantity versus quality mentality. Get it out, sell whatever. But you guys are matching that with the quality, with just some of the statues mentioned. Feel free to talk a little bit about anything that changed there, or do you guys feel no, it's been the same this whole time? We've been Sideshow. We've been doing it. What you talking about?
there are waves and cycles and stuff, man. There's no question about it. And it's pretty fun on the inside because there's different voices and visions. When Dave was with us, he had I don't know if you guys know Dave Igo, but he was kind of the art director there for a bit, and
now he's at the rival company.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I remember.
Just kidding.
So he brought a certain vision to what he was working on, and then so we've had a few. Anthony, are we allowed to talk about who we have now?
Yeah.
Danny's our creative director now. Danny Bell is the creative director of Sideshow.
Did you guys hear that? Daniel Bell is head in charge over at Sideshow right now. How has that been?
It's neat because Danny is arguably the best statue sculptor that's ever been in our business.
But you saying that has to mean a lot, because the stuff you put out, the talent level you were at, and he's coming in and you're giving him that props is a testament to the amount of sculpting quality you guys have in that one building. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just let me jump in a little bit just from my perspective. I think what Will's saying about you see the ebb and flow, and you have different directors and different visions and everything. I think the thing that Danny brings to the table as a creative director, and this is no bust on anybody before our creative director, who is Tom Gillan, and he's still not only has his hands in it, but he's partner in the company, and he's been with the company 31 years plus. Tom was his talent was painting.
Yeah.
And he'd been into model building and comes from the effects industry and miniature painting, but he has his hands in everything. But his main thing is painting. Similar to me, my main thing is painting, even though I dabble in models and a little bit of everything, but main thing is painting. Now you got, say with Dave Igo, when he came in, illustration and conceptual art design. That was where his thing is. Now that we got Danny in, Danny's a sculptor, so it brings a whole different. It brings a whole different aspect to the creative process and what's happening and what's being looked at now. Because whereas for an example, maybe Tom came in and looked at something visually, he knew what he liked, he knew what he wanted to portray, and then he tells everybody, all right, make this, and hands it off to thing. While we still start with designs and we have a pool of people to kind of vet ideas and everything else. But when it comes down to it, Danny has his hands on everything now, but from a sculptor's perspective.
Yeah, that's a great point.
For you guys, right?
Perspective. So now he has his hands on everything. So now you see a jump in some things that I wouldn't say that we're getting left out, but maybe weren't being seen with that eye.
Yep. No,
which translates into some of the stuff. And I wish, Danny's just been on as creative, not even a year, and so you guys haven't even seen
nothing is out yet.
The fruits of the labor that have come into what's been happening in the mix, because it takes 8 months plus, even a year to get anything coming out. That's why when I'm on the shows, I'm like, I wish you guys could see what we're working on.
What y'all cooking?
One of the things, it's a great point, Anthony, because one of the things that's very different is Danny is a quality freak. And so, in the past, hey, we're like everybody. We've had hits and, and some lesser hits and some misses. I mean, it's just the truth. The thing that Danny has really tried to bring is no more misses. everything, so no joke. Just for example, there was a piece that was done, painted, and ready to go to photography. And Danny said, nope, we're revisiting the whole thing. And so now it's in my lap, and I'm resculpting the whole thing.
That's crazy,
he would never do that. Think about the investment. And he's like, we're not doing it. He's like, I'm not putting our name on that thing. And that is not the only time that has happened in the last few months. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, a lot of the times when you talk about a well-oiled machine, like someone as big as Sideshow, like they could afford to take
we can take a hit
and move on, right? They got so many in the pipeline, but having that almost independent mindset of like, this is not good enough is huge. And I think that goes a long way. But I have a question for you, because you're in a safe place. There's nobody watching. There's nobody here. Nobody can hear you. So feel comfortable.
Nobody's watching.
Yeah. There's
nobody.
No, but we're not live. It's not like the internet or anything. We're just hanging out. Did you ghost create the Batgirl that Danny Bell put his name on?
Shit.
We won't tell anybody.
We won't tell him. He'll never find out. It'll be our little secret.
That guy was up my backside that whole time.
I knew it.
I basically, it was a puppet show. I mean, totally. Yeah.
Lazy D.
I knew it. He never made a woman sculpt in his life. And I'm like,
nobody pulls that out. Yeah, exactly.
That's Harbottle. Backstage, be like, that's Harbottle.
That's a Harbottle.
It was also, let's let the record show, it was also his last statue.
That was he's not doing it anymore. He's actually, because that was my next question, was how does he balance being there? Because I think one of those is a full-time job, and a lot of people try to do both and wear many hats, and no matter how hard you try, you can always be given something more percentage, more of your time. And so it's always going to be split no matter how good you are at multitasking. And I was going to ask,
his hands are all over every piece now. I mean, he's influencing everything, but it's in terms of a full sit down statue, it will be difficult to squeeze that into his schedule in the near future.
Yeah. Because we always give him like, "Are you going to be doing any more?" And he's like, "I don't see myself." But it's the last. He did one more statue though that hasn't came out.
Super
and it's a
secret.
female.
I want Danny Bell's last.
I can't say because it hasn't. There's
one. Yes, I stand with. I stand corrected.
This is a STATUECON kind of reveal there.
All right, guys. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, in a couple weeks when we're out there, we'll Anthony will tell you what it is.
Might be something we could chat a little bit about. But yeah, I mean, because
I forgot about that. Yeah,
I was thinking the same thing too. I go, yeah, that is his last one. Then I was like, nope, there was one more that I know Jesse was the PM on it, but
that's right. And as you say, another female.
Yeah. And
that I sculpted.
That you sculpted for me. You're gonna put his name on it. Yo, Danny, you gotta stop, Danny.
That's why I forgot that it's going under his name because I'm like, that's right. We put his name on that one.
We went over this before the show, and Will blew it.
He goes and sees everything down there. Put my name on that one.
I'll take that one.
My name on that one.
You nailed his accent, man. That's good.
I love Danny Bell. I'm so happy
understand
from what he was able to come from and accomplish to be like the title, creative director or creative director at Sideshow is insane. I'm personally gonna miss him not having his hands because he's one of the best, right? And surrounded with a lot of best. But I think you guys are in good hands. You're still there. You got people like Jorge Villar.
Very good hands.
You got people like what's my man's name? Claudio.
Jorge.
Yeah, like Jorge Villar. And so it's sort of like
this. Basically all of South America.
Yeah, you guys got Argentina in your back pocket.
I'm not hating. I just have a hard time keeping track of all the names. I'm like, which Martin and which Diego and which.
It's okay, man. It's okay, man.
Okay.
I'm used to dealing with a bunch of Latino names, but there's too many of them.
There's a lot, a lot of, which actually is a good point. It's a lot of young blood, which is really cool because, like, say, close to 10 years ago when Danny first came to Sideshow, he and I bonded in a interesting way because I was an older sculptor and he was just breaking in, but he was so good. It really, I've told him this a million times, he reinvigorated my whole career. I mean, because here's this kid, I'm like, okay, I got to kick that kid's ass.
Break his fingers.
Yeah, I mean, this ain't happening. And anyway, so
you got to do a Tanya Harding on him.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. 100%. So it was I like to look at it as a friendly rivalry. I mean, but he is so generous that I would be like, you know, my mind is going like, okay, how do I like suck this guy dry before I throw his shell to the side of the road? And and he's like, so I would say, so, Danny, how did you do the boots on that Captain America? I'm just curious, you know. And and he would be like, oh, and next thing I know, I get like a half an hour video breakdown of totally how he did it. And I was like, well, that kind of takes the fun out of it.
You can't hate on somebody.
You can't hate that guy.
Were you ever that guy?
Can. What are you talking about? Hate is real. If you really hate,
with somebody that's just that generous with their knowledge.
Yeah, that's the thing, man.
But anyways, Will, real quick, were you ever that guy though? Even early on, were you that guy where you like somebody asked you and you just like explain to the umpteenth time, like just like, oh, this is how I did it, like.
Definitely not young. Definitely not like his age and stuff like that.
Or at some point, like, were you like? I guess what I'm saying because I've always been that
like
person.
Now I would be glad to.
Yeah, who always wanted to share. Now sometimes I'm just like, I don't have the time or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's opposite for me now. Like I was too insecure always in my life to like to be that open and stuff.
Yeah.
But now, you know what? Part of it is digital. The digital sculpting community is so sharing generally, just as to be generic about it. Like everybody's giving stuff away for free, man.
Which is
it's crazy. It's just nuts.
Before everything was even before the term gatekeeping was popular. If it was the effects industry, or nobody would tell you the
super secretive
for wax.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
right. Yeah,
the formula for wax. No, and everybody was trying to like,
dude, Castelline. Does anybody remember Castelline?
Castelline, wax. Nobody was telling anybody what paint they were using.
Yeah, it's like the cure for cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I just want to, like, Castelline this was the material that we used, traditional material that we used to sculpt in, with this stuff Castelline, this green stuff. It smelled like mint. Anyway, but like the formula for that stuff was so guarded, and then it was just one person was making it in New York, and I don't know, she like died or something, and like the formula got lost, and we're all like, panic, total panic. People were hoarding it, remelting it down.
And then they
Not
kept
the hoarders.
That was vibranium, bro.
Yeah, it would have like grain. Remember, it was like sometimes it would have like little sand or something in it.
You get knockoff versions of the formula. Oh no, this is the genuine stuff, man. And you'd be like,
this is good stuff.
Yeah, or
this
like
is Peruvian.
Yeah,
like
that's no way.
This ain't no fentanyl.
I honestly think that do you think it's because creatives can't afford to gatekeep with the emergence of technologies like AI and stuff like that? Like, do you guys look at that as a tool, or because it doesn't, I'll say this, it doesn't seem like you guys are going in that direction. Like, you're the few that still have, I could go to Sideshow right now, look at a piece, go to more info and see who's the sculpt, who's the painter, and all of that good stuff. And I think that's a cool human effect to have to anything that is created, because like people made it, humans made it, right? But is AI the new digital sculpting, where people are sort of like they don't really want to embrace it because sculpting is now, and it's still an art to it, but eventually like AI is like looming like Galactus?
This is a great question. It really, really is, because I mean it's the question of this minute.
Yeah.
And I'm torn by it because as a tool, I've dabbled in it, no question about it. Everybody's curious and stuff. It's so powerful, but it's troubling. So you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Comic story. It's like it's like you can easily see some weird comic book where it's like, the power in the wrong hands, or the and it goes awry.
It's totally that, right? Because
but in some ways it's super liberating, though. It can be super liberating, like, because for example, I can't draw to save my life. I wish I could, but I can't. And so and to sculpt a concept takes a long time. And what you want when you're concepting, what you really want is a lot of options. You want to iterate. So I want to see 50 choices and then focus in on what I want. And really drawing is the only way to do that. So, in the times that I've played with it, it's been like, okay, give me some help to visualize what I'm trying to, so what I can't draw.
Especially if you're a writer. If you want to be a writer, you can, if you're working with prompts and can write and put together descriptions, sky's the limit. Because some people want to use AI, they can't put words together to make their thoughts or anything, and they come up with a bunch of garbage. But if you know how to do some stuff, you could come up with some inspiring stuff. But you're not copying. It's just like, wow, this is awesome. This is the creativity. At least on my end, when you see some of that stuff,
I know people who use it in the art space, video and art space, but they don't use it for output, like to actually generate assets. They use it for like, I want it to learn me, You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I wanted to learn me.
Yeah.
I am your algorithm. You know what I like because I'm training the algorithm on me, like nobody else but me, and it can kick out like several assets based off of the stuff he fed it versus everybody else's stuff. And it helps him narrow it down and then focus and go hands-on with something that, you know, he was able to do in a matter of minutes or hours versus
I think it's gotten a bad rap because most of the general public sees things where somebody goes, type me something that looks like Frazetta. Type me something, you know, something that looks like this. And it,
give me that new Harbottle algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
What I like the most about it is when it surprises me.
Yeah, exactly.
And it does that, you know, with some kind of regularity. And like, hey, I love I prefer and love human artists to work with and to collaborate with, but it's difficult for humans to surprise you because they
don't feed off each other on what
and you know they have their
everything's a remix.
They have their careers to consider, and like, you know, they can't just be something, you know, to go off into left field. Yeah. When the AI does it, 99% of the time you're like,
it's wacky.
That sucks. Yeah. But then every once in a while you're like, oh crap, where the hell did it come up with that? That is awesome. And it can do that because it's got all the time in the world. So it's not fair. You know what I mean?
It's also just, it's pulling random. So like, you know, a good analogy is like, you know, when Predator came out, or even precursor to that, Alien. Every fucking monster looked like an alien or predator. Everything had to have, you know, 4 jaws that were doing this and dreads. And so because everybody was like, this was the most successful thing. Well, we want to do something like that, but we don't want to copy it. But eventually, I mean, all you got to do is look at the movies. And when you see something in the movie and you go, oh yeah, I've seen that thing before. They obviously copied the Predator. That looks like, and then sometimes when you start experimenting with something like AI and you're doing stuff, you start seeing stuff that's like, what the fuck is this? Because nobody in their right mind would have put those together, or if they were under any type of art direction, they would have not been allowed to just unleash and do something like that. I mean, you see it where you see some artists that are super creative and that have the ability to be like, I'm just doing whatever I want to do. Like in the industry, you get so many like weird lockdown, but I mean, don't let anybody fool you. If people say they're not using it, you know, the movie industry and stuff, they're using it. They're just not going out there and saying
it. That's where that's kind of I saw a message pop up that, you know, people were commenting, and I agree to some extent with one that somebody said where it was that one. I don't necessarily think it should be outlawed or anything like that necessarily, but I do think I'm not sure that it would hurt anything if they were labeled. You know what I mean? Like, just so people can choose. Like, oh, that's AI.
That's important.
That's AI. F it. You know what I mean? Oh, or they don't care or whatever. Like, it would be nice if there was, you know, because now you just go AI. You just assume that it is, and that's not necessarily fair either. I don't know. It would be nice to just be labeled. I don't know if that's realistic at all.
No, I do think that's what I just think it needs to be more clarity in what's going on there. Like, because my whole thing is the ethics part of it, and not in the way that you may think, in the way that I don't want it learning. I don't want the algorithm learning from people that they don't even have a clue it's learning from them. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that choice stuff going on. Yeah, exactly. But no, thanks for hitting that. A lot of people are afraid to
genie back in the bottle, though.
It ain't going back. That's
no. It is
maybe we can guide it a little bit. You know what I mean? Have it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think like people being knowing. You know, I think there's a lot of lackadaisical people out there that just want to accept things for what they are. If people are a little bit more paying attention, you can see majority of people, or at least artists and so, can see like that's AI. They might assume, but I mean, you can really kind of see because there's so much.
You can still tell.
You can still tell now. But what? How about
eventually, of course,
5 years from now or whatever?
Right,
you know,
I'm very sensitive because of my age. I'm up there too. That I'm of the opinion that I like traditional. I want to know that if the talent came from someone make it, but I also just like cool shit. So that's the split. Like if it's just cool, right. But it's just so hard for me to be like, I feel like the guy was like, back in my day, people did this and that, but at the same time, if something can be done
that's
quick,
cool.
I know it's cool.
And I definitely don't want any AI sculpting my stuff. Now, if they utilize it for inspiration, I still want to know that it means more because then it cheapens it because it's like, oh.
I know it. I've heard that it's out there, but I haven't seen it myself.
It's there.
The House of GOG has started something.
Yeah.
They have their
I think House of GOG is doing exactly what we're saying. They're generating AI and generating something off of, and I could be totally off base, but I think this is what they're doing is they're using it as conceptual and creative on what they're putting in there. Once again, it's not going generate Wayne Barlow,
Storm,
and then once you generate something, we bring it in, we refine it, and then have a digital sculptor sculpting it.
I also think
having a digital sculptor doing it.
Infinity Studio did it with those 2 1/3 scale, kind of like army girl kind of things. They look like dolls.
But I think it's still they're generating the art. They're not. It's not.
Or they use it for sculpt.
Yeah.
Well,
reference and inspiration. That they're generating like hot female chick, and then they're sculpting it, but the AI isn't involved in.
Okay.
You talking
about those Zero chicks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an anime. I think.
I've never seen any
anime that they're doing with.
I don't know.
I've never seen anything, but I could be wrong as well too. But Prime One's going to get into that too. I mean,
I know his House of GOG.
XM, all of them are like. But see, I think that's where the line is, right? Like, however creative can use a tool to help them be more efficient, that's just going to make them, they're going to continue to be relevant instead of like trying to be against it. You got to figure out how it can work for you, but also figure out where and everybody's different. Nobody can tell you. You got to figure out for yourself. Where does that moral line stop for you and where you use it? And for me, that is the actual sculpting of tell AI to sculpt this, like similar to what you would do with ChatGPT.
So it's almost like I've seen a documentary on the current modern marble sculptor.
Oh yeah, where they
they get their own slab of marble and stuff. Yeah,
like a computerized mill that they're doing it.
Puts it in a computer, and the computer sculpts it for them. See what I'm saying? There's no chisel, there's no hammer.
There's no name to attach to that. There's no.
Is that art? So that's a very interesting kind of. I don't even if the word's right debate, but it's a very good conversation saying is that okay?
I think
that's where my line ends. Like I said,
it takes some of the fun out of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't know. I mean,
well, you can say that, Will, and I can say that because I'm with you. But the companies, like you know how much money I can save.
And in the case that Marcos is talking, because I think I know exactly what he's talking about. It's like 60 minutes or.
Yeah, 60 minutes thing, right.
Yeah, it's almost like a robotic mill.
Yeah. It's a mill. Yeah, it's a
But the
CNC
thing
machine or something.
The thing is in the when it's marble, how many people are going, I want to be a marble sculptor that are coming out. It really is as it is. It's a lost art form. I follow a couple of marble guys, online. I mean, that's some shit that. Before you're, in your 30s, your hands are shot, and you have
let the computer have that. You can have the marble.
All this. Fire up the computer. There's apprenticeship. It takes years and years, and there's nobody coming out of like, Florence and stuff. They're like, I'm going to be a marble sculptor. So
exactly.
It just shows like the way the technology goes.
And yet, marble is a beautiful medium. It's just so difficult.
It's just not a lot of people actually doing it.
Has a tendency to become a lost art form.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Will, you mentioned how much you respect Martin Canali. He's somebody who got in there with his hands and learned digitally as well. You mentioned how much you respect Daniel Bell. Who had the most impact? And it doesn't have to be any of those two. Who gave you the most impactful advice in your career? Who was also a sculptor? And what was that advice?
I can't think of one nugget, but I can say the person who I've worked with the most in terms of my work has been Steve Lord.
Steve Lord. Shout out to Steve Lord.
Yeah. We went through a period of time, actually, this was kind of my idea. I said, Steve Lord is the master of anatomy. I mean, the guy is a freak. I don't know if you've ever seen videos of him sculpting and stuff like that. The guy is absolutely
He's that guy.
He's that guy. And so what
and quiet and humble. You never know he's a freaky anatomy dude.
So
those be the ones.
Those be the ones.
Watch out for the quiet ones.
For a bunch of years, me and some other people would send him all of our sculpts early, maybe we're 10, 15% in it, and he would correct it. He would give us his feedback on our sculpt, which is really cool because, digitally, if it was clay, I'd tell the guy to F off. Don't touch my thing. Just tell me what to do. You know what I mean? But when it's digital, I can send him the file halfway around the world, and he can put his hands on it and send it back. And talk about learning. I mean, I got paid to have Steve Lord teach me how to sculpt. You know what I mean? I'll never be Steve Lord, but I will always have benefited from his hands-on stuff. I mean, I can remember the first piece that he touched of mine was, I got it right there, Lady Deadpool. Lady Deadpool. And man, this crazy dynamic pose, very challenging, something that I'd never done anything quite like that before. And so I was I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. Let's see what Steve can do with this thing. You know what I mean? And he sent it back, and I was like, dang, okay, wow, okay. There are other levels to reach. And again, very challenging.
Back to what you were saying about learning earlier.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Shout out Steve
I never felt threatened by it. I just felt like I got a secret weapon here,
you
man.
Absorbing.
Yeah, that's right. Suck that guy dry and throw him aside the road.
Yeah.
All right, so we do this thing called Thanos snap right around here. And this is going to be hard because I feel bad now.
Wait. Hang on.
This is where it's going to get ugly.
I love this.
You mean that guy?
Oh, Thanos on throne. Yes. Hey, we're going to talk to somebody in the chat mentioned they want to know about that time. So we're going to circle back to that. Okay. But let's say you had to snap. And when you snap, everything tied to this, whether it's a movie, whether it's a person, whatever it is, it all goes away. And the other one.
This is like your version of Mary F. Kill or whatever that thing is.
No, it's our version of that. You have the power to wipe somebody and all of their art out of existence forever.
Okay, artist. Wow.
You have, instead of me spoiling anymore, let's just do it and get right into it. And you can let me know who will you be snapping out of existence. I wish I would have seen his face when he showed
Crippler is evil.
That's evil.
One must go to restore balance.
Wait a minute. I got to pick Danny or Martine. That's what I'm doing?
Yeah, and all of their art, all their legacy, purged from the world. And only the...
Okay. I got to go Danny. The guy's evil.
That was quick.
That was quick, Danny. What did you do to Harbottle? Let him craft his women.
Lazy D is no more.
Yo, he made that quick, yo. I ain't gonna front. Yo, he stands on business.
You did him a favor.
Bye, Danny.
He's my boss now, so he's got to go.
That's why. And then you could get his job.
There can only be one.
There can only be one.
All right, we're gonna
the Highlanders.
We winding down, and then we're gonna get into some Star Wars talk because we got a Sith Lord, so we gotta talk Star Wars. But how is it? How does that relationship work between like sculptors, designers, creatives, and project managers, like like project managers. Like how is that day to day?
We're lucky. I mean, it's actually I love working with Anthony.
Good work.
Is it because he's right here? You can tell us.
No. There have been people in the past who I haven't gotten clicked with in the same way, but like Anthony's cool. Anthony can be Anthony's interesting when to work with directly because I'll say this right to you.
Right to your face.
You have a lot more to offer than you generally do. You tend to be very reserved when it comes to commentary.
Like, we getting live performance feedback right now, folks.
Yeah, on purpose.
I would personally benefit from more of your eye.
All right.
Because you have a very, very good eye, and you're cautious about. Maybe cautious isn't the right word. You're careful about sharing it, and I'm not really sure why. We've never talked about this before.
Ooh, this is a play. This is like
that'll be STATUECON. We're gonna be hanging out at STATUECON. We'll be bonded.
I will take you to my personal.
Do you think it's because he's trying to give you guys your freedom?
Probably, which is very nice. I mean, like you couldn't ask for more than that. But sometimes you want good ideas. I want good ideas wherever they come from. And,
I love that.
Anyway, so
how about Jesse Lincoln? Have you worked with him?
Not my favorite guy. Let's be honest. Yeah. No, I'm joking. No, I love Jesse. Jesse and I worked on some of my favorite pieces ever together. Yeah. Jesse's similar. He has a lot of opinions and doesn't always share them. And I think that I'm hoping as Danny takes over that it frees you guys to, because here's why I know this. I see the comments on other projects, but not on mine. You know what I mean? And so
he's letting legend, but you want that feedback too.
Yeah. And just to add to that, it is some of it is giving the artist, freedom,
room,
because Jesse, we're both artists ourselves, so we know how it is to be overly directed or whatever, and we know what they're capable of doing. The other thing is we've been in the, I've been here 21 years, Jesse's been here 20 years, so we've seen all different ways of how things get handled. I don't want to say we're beating horses over certain things, but we're very kind of like cautious, and we have to, walk the tightrope of like, we don't want to offend. We don't want to tell somebody what to do. We definitely want to keep our eyes on the project so it doesn't go in some kooky direction. And there's just a lot of things that go into play on stuff like that. But so usually if we're confident that, we have somebody like Will and our other artists, that are in-house, I mean, a lot of times we're hands off. We are hands off with them. We're not in there, behind them breathing down their neck on stuff, unless it's a deadline. And even then, that doesn't even happen. There's other people that can breathe down their necks for deadlines. It usually goes, they're breathing down our necks, then we go breathe down somebody else's neck, whatever it may be. But
so what I'm hearing is you're trying to give that you trust them enough to give them their freedom, and he's like, nah,
but
bro.
The thing is that's good to hear from Will, and I think I've heard it maybe a little bit before.
That's what the C.O.C. is all about.
But yeah,
we want to get to the, you guys are going to be better. This
therapy now. But yeah, no, it's like, but yeah, I mean, it's good to know, because you don't want to assume and then realized like, man, I wish I could have got some help on this project, but these guys
get some mad notes now. Will
no. There have been a few projects that I definitely know that I could have benefited from more input. As I'm getting older, I'm going to start asking for it more, and that actually is hard. You know what I mean? Because I'd rather it be volunteered, because asking for it feels weird, but I need it, and so I will ask for it. Like Anthony, like like, what do you think of this?
Right.
Like I said, it brings out your insecurities, because I don't want you to not like it.
I want to hear what I have to say.
Right? Yeah. I mean, but
we know Brandon's gonna be sensitive too.
Right.
I totally disagree with what he had to say about it.
I'm as sensitive as anybody. So yeah, you're afraid, but I have gotten to the point where I know I need it. I need it.
I think that's with any artist, whether you're a painter, sculptor, anything. I deal with all the painters in the paint room and have been forever, and everybody's an individual as well. I know how to deal with Bernardo. I know how to deal with Chi. I know how to talk about that. And it's not the same way.
Of course, right.
So
remember, I'm fragile. So please give me your opinions.
You got to
be
do it with
gentle.
gloves.
I'm gonna tell him a story before I go in there and rip down his shelf. Like so.
All right, but you know what? There's only room for one project manager.
Oh shit. This is gonna make good fodder come tomorrow.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. It's like
light up. He's lighting up.
This is as easy as it gets for two reasons. As I said, Jesse's a jackass, and he's not here.
Oh wow!
Easy.
Yeah, give it up. You stay, Jesse. So you got to come on more, man. You got to
good point. Like AK's mad. AK is furious right now. He's like, "This is where Anthony's gonna get."
I was getting ready to snap both fingers.
All right, man. This guy was so quick. Will, we got to get you with one of these. Ready? We prepared.
I know you ain't crazy.
For this.
I know you ain't crazy.
Easy, pick, easy.
All right, Will.
Oh God.
Oh wow. This
one took longer than 2 seconds.
This would be instant.
No. See, John Carter was my first love.
Oh.
Reach.
So, but whoosh.
Has it stood
before you answer, look at all of those statues behind Thor.
You didn't stand the test.
You gotta factor in.
No. Just gonna zoom in on that picture.
Everything Star Wars goes away.
You snuff out Star Wars.
We got more shit over here.
I can't.
My dark ball up here.
It's going to be John Carter. Everybody said it now.
No. The bonus is you would get rid of all of the new stuff. Oh, he snapped it out. I can't even say anything anymore.
John Carter's got to go. I read all 17 of those books.
Wow.
Man.
By the time I was like 13. But it's got to go because it's 100 years old and it is not as relevant anymore. Right. As much as it meant to me personally, it's just not as connected to the world. Now, if I could selectively snap part of stuff.
No, they all.
What did you think about the movie? Will, what did you think about the movie?
Which one?
John Carter.
Wasn't a fan. I didn't love it. It wasn't because it changed the source material, because I really don't care about that. Like,
nobody went to see it.
I'm not married to, like, I liked some of the early X-Men movies, and and I had friends who were like, "Oh man, F that," they like totally changed or whatever, and I was like, "Yeah, but some of those were pretty fun." I can get past the changing of the source material if it's still good. But John Carter, I just didn't make any sense to me. I mean, like, I just didn't. I couldn't follow it. Anyway, so
that's what. But you know what? We all lose because that's what inspired Star Wars.
among other things. But yeah.
Yeah.
You got Foundation,
So-
you got Moon, you got
You got all of the Kurosawa films.
Kurosawa.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
he
last
borrowed
thing
from
that's left is
everybody.
I got it.
How do you know that I'm a huge Zeppelin fan? How did you know that?
That makes sense. How the
I
fuck-
know it all.
Crippler
We're
knows
COC.
it all.
We have infinite resources.
That's
Here.
really great.
We have a
Have I ever
spy network.
talked about that?
Will stumped.
We got a spy network. We always watch.
Seriously? Wow, that's wacky because I am a Zeppelin freak. But I'm pretty open about my Bond love. But
Yeah.
oh, Nelly, I'm gonna say Bond's got to go. As much as I love it,
Yeah.
because I listen to Zeppelin
Cashmere.
all day long when I'm working and stuff. So
that's
I could my life could go on without Bond,
without Roger
I don't
Moore,
know if
without
it could go
Sean
on.
Connery,
I don't
without
know if it could go on
without-
without Zeppelin, because what would I do? What would I listen to?
That explains in the paint room back when I was in the paint room, and I was always playing the music, and there's always some crazy hip hop or R&B or something. I'd always ask Kat, "What do you want to hear?" Like, because I felt like I was always playing stuff, and she might not have been totally on board with it. I'm like, "Kat, anything you want to hear? What do you want to hear?" She's like, "I don't know, Led Zeppelin or something." I was like, "Really? I didn't take you for a Zeppelin."
You learned that today too, huh?
That's funny because she is an old hip hop fan. I mean, like that's her favorite. That's her first love.
Yo, we gotta get Casapine up in here.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
She
Totally.
would bring it up, and we would play some. I was all over the place with all kinds of hip hop. So,
man,
but I definitely, I know she would tell me about it, going to concerts in New York and all this other stuff.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But
totally.
and I was shocked to hear that from
She
Kat.
would go see all these shows by herself.
Really?
Yeah.
And we're gonna.
But-
Speaking about Kat, we were going to get in it, but we might as well get it here so we can move the show over to Thor so Thor can ask. Yo, you don't understand. Thor hit me up and he was like, so much Star Wars stuff happened at that Sideshow. He's like, I got some questions for Anthony. I was like, this would be the great show for you. So
It's just something I just needed to say because stuff I've been seeing on these shows for the longest time. So
okay, yeah. So we're gonna let him clarify that.
He's gonna be. Let me just say, you're going to be happy. You're going to be a lot happy.
Hey,
I've been hinting that there's a lot of.
There is Star Wars coming like you can read about.
Yo. Hey, all right. Before we get in that, and then I'm gonna pass it, and I'll show some Star Wars pictures, and then go back to Will pictures. But Will, you have children. You both super talented. You and your wife, Kat, of course.
Oh God! Oh no!
Oh,
this is where we're going.
This is going.
Where we're going.
This is horrible.
Who do your children have, the sculpting gene power or the painting gene power? Do they side with the sculpting side or the painting side? What do they lean towards? What do they find more interesting? Who do they think is cooler?
Oh, well, that's easy. That's easy. I'm definitely cooler. I have one child. Her name is Zelda.
Oh, one. Okay. Child, not children. What's her name?
Zelda.
Zelda. Is it based off one of the greatest video games of all time?
Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Kat and I fell in love. We were friends. Kat and I worked together at that first studio that I was telling you about. I'm a lot older than she is, but we were just buddies. We were just friends. We hung out. We worked together, and after a while, we started hanging out. And I would go to her house, and we would play Zelda. So we played all of Ocarina of Time, all of
Majora's
Mask, all that stuff. We all the way through. Actually, little TMI here, but how we would play is she would play, and I would tell her, "Don't do that. Hit that guy, beat that guy's ass." So she would play, and I would tell her what to do. Anyway, so and it's that is still how we play.
I was just gonna say that's how it is to this day.
That's how it is to this day. But anyway, we fell in love. We fell in love playing Zelda. So absolutely 100% fell in love playing Zelda. So when we had a kid, it was the easiest decision we ever had. Wow. There was no question about it.
That's awesome.
That was a great story.
Anyway,
so Zelda's power. Is she interested in any of the stuff y'all do, or is she her own little flower?
She's way, way, way more talented artistically than either Kat or I were at her age by a long shot.
Wow.
I gotta say, she's very crafty. It's funny. She doesn't just draw or doesn't sculpt or whatever. She likes to make stuff. So she's super, super crafty. She's building stuff and doing things like that all the time. All of us here who have kids can probably relate to this story that she's in junior high. She just finished junior high. She's going to high school next year. Her last, I guess I won't get her in trouble because she's not in that school anymore. She had the worst art teacher in history, and it bummed her out so bad that she really got turned off to all art for like the last 2 years. She's just starting to get back into it again, and that really kind of bummed us out. That really broke our hearts because she was young enough and good enough that we're like, holy crap, this kid could be really, really good. And then she hit the pause button for 2 whole years. So we'll see how it goes when she gets back to high school. But
that's the impact of somebody that can have a positive impact versus someone that can actually tune somebody out and they have to build them back up. But it seems like that's what y'all doing.
Yeah. I mean, whether it's a science teacher or whatever, we've all been touched by people in our lives that have been in the positive way. But here's a negative one. So anyway.
Exactly. All right. So thank you for sharing and being so open. Let's get to these. Let me pull up these pictures right here. Boom. Boom. Boom.
I didn't get a boom. And a boom.
Boom. There we go.
Boom. Boom.
All right. This just popped up today. Is that a Revan?
Oh, this popped up on the site today?
Yeah.
It did pop up, yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Thor, you getting moist?
I mean, we stay moist when they pull out the red sabers, Jack. But it looked like Malgus and Revan in the mix. I'm good on both of them. But see, the thing about here's the thing. Let's go back to Asajj Ventress, right? So I got out of. Go do that. See, I got out of 1/5 a long time ago, right? I'm just going straight 1/4 scale Sith Lords. So when she came out 1/5, everybody said, "Damn, that's nice," but I can't have it because it's 1/5 scale, and I stuck to that. So fast forward a few years. Next, they say we coming out with 1/4 scale Asajj Ventress light up. I said, "That's me." Everybody else, oh man, that's messed up. I got to sell my statue for $5. I said, "Not me, Jack."
Because you were patient.
That's right.
And you the one that coined patience, my brother.
Just like Palpatine teaches, so you gotta wait to take the Jedi out, Jack. So when that's and everybody like, man, that's messed up.
Crying
coming out with this 1/4 scale that light up Rashid.
Crying.
And then
yeah.
I was like, yes, messed up. And then the thing is now hold up. Now when this one of my operatives last week, Brenton, sent me a
shout
picture,
out to Brenton.
Sent me a picture of this nihilist. And I said, this got to be fake. I said, there's no way this is real. I mean, legit, because the thing is, let's look at the last two. You had we call it oh my God. Now I'm drawing a blank. The blue, no. The last Cad Bane.
Oh, Cad Bane.
And Thrawn. See, with those two, they've been on shows, they've been on animation. So, that's kind of in the public eye. When this dude came out, you would have to be a diehard to know who this guy is.
Yep.
The people was him like, who is this dude? Who is this dude? And I think I can easily say, out of since I've been collecting, and it's been since 2016, this is easily the biggest surprise I've ever seen. This came out of nowhere.
Right.
I was the first one to hit me up with this image. Dor was the first one to hit me with this image. I knew exactly who it was. Then
you did. Because you play the games. But the run-of-the-mill.
The rest of the people. But go ahead.
The thing is, the last time that a KOTOR came out was Malgus.
Yep.
And that was 2011. You know what I mean? So, and then it also made me think, dude, I was pulling up the National Airport. Yes, that National Airport. When Brenton sent me this image, And I take people to the airport for a living. I told the people, get the fuck out of my car. It was like, what about my luggage? I said, fuck you and your luggage. Get the fuck out of my car. So I had to pull over. I said, I got something to examine it. I couldn't believe. I thought somebody. I literally thought somebody AI just said
AI.
Like legit. Until it came out later on, I was like, oh, that's me. We RSVP immediately. And today they sent that email. I couldn't even finish reading it. Said, let's go pre-order. It's done.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. I thought it was going to be a negative story.
No. Thank you. We don't care about
As a sculptor, I got to say, you know who did that, right?
Jorge Velar? Oh no.
That's the K-Bros.
Yeah. The K-Bros. Yeah, I
remember when they did the drawing. I remember when they did the drawing, and that was years ago. We showed them on the show. We showed it a long time ago. Yeah. And I mean, me and PJ, it ain't never gonna happen, and all this other stuff.
Shout out PJ.
Those guys are big fans with very unique visions and talent, and super enthusiastic and excited, and as big of fans as you are.
And it shows in the Kacharik brothers. Just to add to that. The Kacharik brothers, everybody could spot their pieces because
their capes and they flow.
You can always tell by the fabric.
Their robes.
The thing with the Kachariks are their comic book and illustrators, and they used to do political comics. So they're it kind of goes back to when I was talking about creative directors and that every artists have their own forte, like their specialty. Theirs is illustrating and rendering and drawing, so they have that ability to create dynamic gesture and all this crazy stuff. You bring that into the nerd world, and then they start sculpting, and you get what you see them producing and what we've done, and they're able to translate their drawings into those dynamic pieces, which I've always loved. Whether it's the whole mythos realm of Star Wars stuff to even the Superman that everybody debates whether they like or not, or whatever it may be, but you can always see a Kacharik piece because they bring their illustrations, not to sound corny, but they bring their illustrations to life, in 3 dimensions, and you can always spot it,
And I, as good as they are at sculpting, their designs are out of this world, man.
Yeah, their designs, they're
absolutely out of this world.
Yeah, everything is. It's very cool.
Okay, hold on. Now, Cash and I was talking about this today. Like, he kept asking me, "Who's this guy on the bass?" And I was like, we were going back and forth. The only person I come up with, it looked kind of like Naga Sidao.
Yeah, and I'm, to be honest, I would have to go back and look because I never played the game. I know we have an urn on the back, but I mean, as far as the specific character on that statue, I'd have to do.
It's a deeper cut than I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but like I was when this one came out, this is the one I was like, this is me, because I've been off of Star Wars. I love the original trilogy and I love the games, and the Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2 is some of my favorite RPGs of all time. I love those games. BioWare was doing some great work, even though BioWare didn't do this. So Obsidian did this game. But they did a really good job capturing the essence of what the first game was. But this whole line is really, really, really well done. Awesome. I'm happy that, because I'm glad you was able to speak to that, Vader, because you know how it is that we get caught up. We look at the 1/5. We either said we're gonna get it. It's for us or not for us. But we didn't settle. So like when this comes out, even though I went 1/5, I wasn't mad because I didn't settle. I got the one that fitted in the display that I needed to fit in.
Exactly.
So if I got the one I wanted, then I'm not gonna worry about it. But then the people who didn't buy 1/5 because they don't click 1/5 was patient. But I'm not saying that it doesn't suck for the people who
No, it does. I mean, I joke, but that is, I mean,
Yeah, and here's the thing. I know we've talked about it before on some of the shows, but I think we never really, some of the things that were never really jumped into. But there's from a marketing or from a business standpoint, everybody was like, some people are like, you got to show up to us at the same time, and which we totally get, but at some point there's there's a place where you have to test the waters and see if people even want that. And so if there's a transition, so do we invest in a new piece and do 2 sizes out the gate and we lose, or do we go back and say, let's release one that we've done and we'll up it and let's test the waters, see what people say.
It's been complicated, and it's been debated and discussed internally for a million years. None of these things were easy. Well, but
that was like a transition point. There's always that's a transition point. So now when you see like Nihilus and stuff, they're being offered at the same time, and people, everybody's going, that's how it should be. We've never thought that it shouldn't be that way, but prior to that, you got to start somewhere, and you got to see if people are interested. You can't just jump in, to the deep end and drown.
There are so many complicated topics too. Like, for example, when I think of this subject, I think of I did the Harley Quinn on the roller skates, statue with the hammer.
Hell on wheels.
Hell on wheels, right? Yeah. Well, at the same, almost at the same time, we were working on a sketch, a concept of the one that just came out, the one in the jester suit. And at the time, for various reasons, it didn't make sense to pursue that one. But for the last 5 years, I've been like, can we talk about this? Is this a possibility? Because I love that jester. In my mind, I love the jester suit. I mean, that's Harley Quinn, right? So
that is Harley Quinn. Yeah.
But it after about 5 years, it finally made sense. Like I said, for various reasons, and so
you could blame the movies and collectors in general, because at some point this was always Harley Quinn. The movies come out,
and then it wasn't.
It's been redefined. Everybody knows there is something else. So are you gonna do the OG version? No, you're gonna, we have to go and do what everybody's into at the time, and then we go, all right, let's revisit, and
will people feel bummed out that we didn't show them at the same time, and blah blah blah, and
I mean, even from a logistical, perspective, going into production or anything, people don't realize how difficult it would be to try to show 2 different versions at the same time, because that means you'd have to sculpt 2 different versions and have them ready and have them go through development and into paint. That means you have 2 pieces that are of the same character going through development at the same time, which makes absolutely no sense. I mean, we'll get all this. I'm just saying this as a grand kind of thing where some people, where people don't realize how that plays out in marketing, and do you want to stagger sales? You can't have 2 pieces competing against each other. It just doesn't make good business sense. But I mean, I get it.
There are so many
what they want.
There's so many behind the scenes things that I never knew about until I came to Sideshow. And my favorite example is, so when we did my boy Thanos there,
shout out Thanos.
He had a circular base.
No throne?
No. He had his throne was on a big disc. And so that's how we were working on it and stuff like that. And at one point, people came to me and said, "We got to cut the whole front of the disc off." And I was like, "What are you on crack? Why would I cut the front?" I'm like, "There's an aesthetic beauty to circles and blah 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 blah." And thankfully, they explained to me. They're like, "Here's the deal. He's max. We've measured it, tested it out, sent it to the factory and stuff like that, and he's maxed out one shipping box if we make the base a full disc, he has to go in 2 boxes." And I was like, yeah. They gave me the shipping cost number for it, and I was like, what kind of idiot wants a disc cut that thing off, get that baby in one.
Get that disc out of here.
Like said Joker.
Right.
Yeah.
Like exactly what you would expect. You know what I mean? Like screw that. Anyway, so it was very it was very helpful to me to see. I mean, it would have doubled the shipping cost. It's crazy how much it would have cost. Instead of that, the piece was not a cheap piece to begin with. I don't know what was it, $1,000, $1,200, something like that. But it would have been like $400 more or $300 more. And I was like, whoa.
Oh, because you have another box and wait.
You have another whole box, yeah.
I remember that day like it was yesterday when that went up for PO. That was like insane. Like the whole thing crashed.
Yeah, I know.
Like it just froze. I mean, I didn't get it, but people were losing their mind. What's happening? What happened to the site?
We were shocked.
I remember that.
It was one of our bigger.
It
was crazy.
Yeah. It was one of our bigger, more ambitious pieces, and so there was a lot of trepidation going. Did we fuck up? Is this too big?
Yeah.
Is this too small? Is it too expensive? This, that, and the other, and the rest.
It was a big risk for us. It was a real big risk. The prototype on that thing was so expensive, people were freaking out. To get that thing printed, printing costs have come down so much. But that thing, if I could tell you, you could buy a car for how much it cost, or like a nice car for how much it cost to print one copy of that thing. Wow. Back in that day.
That's crazy.
Nuts. People were freaking out. And Dave and I were looking at each other like, I hope we did the right thing. We feel good about it, but man, dang.
But a car from back then or a car from now?
So me and Critical Mass been going back and forth, and we've been trying to figure out who would we cast for Deja Doris. So I'm gonna show you some images.
Okay, yeah.
Right? You let us know who would
Critical Mass's favorite part here.
Yeah.
Mia Khalifa.
We're gonna cast
Mia Khalifa.
We narrowed it down.
I own some of her movies.
I know.
Oh Lord,
dude, it's 2025. Why are you
I think that's Critical Mass's go-to on every one.
So we narrowed it down to these two lovely ladies.
Wow. Okay.
All right. So, Critical, would you like to introduce the actress that you have?
Lovely young lady from Australia.
Already wrong, but go ahead.
I'm choked up.
I just put her in the tanning booth.
Jessica Green. Yes, she's a very lovely young lady.
Whoa.
As you see, she loves being in outdoors. Here she is at the beach, and
why is she so familiar? Why do I know her?
Watch what you
she's
say.
in a
Watch
TV
what you
show
say,
called Outpost.
I was like, nope.
No, she looks super familiar to me.
She's been in a few TV shows.
Okay.
Over the years.
Okay.
She hasn't really made it big
Critical,
time
what kind
yet,
of
but
movies does she make?
she's on her way.
I agree with
What
Taylor.
kind of movie she make?
What kind of movies?
It's gonna be like,
Not those movies.
Okay.
At least not yet.
You sure you got the task right? Because she looked like she's like
She's not in
one
those
of these antenna or something.
No, these are
Carl's
TV.
Jr.
These are you can
This
take
is
your.
from Carl Jr.
He's handing out hamburgers.
There you go, Fredo. Morena Pacarin, Papa.
So who's the second pick? Who's the second?
All right,
She would have been a pick of mine store, but I went with her because this girl's got a little bit more curves.
So this is the second pick right here.
Okay.
She is.
Johnson is
Her name is Radha Kapoor. As you can tell by the name, she could definitely have the accent and everything down pat.
That's the skin tone. Very good.
You got the skin tone. All right.
There
she goes.
Tell us more, Crippler.
Well, I think she has the assets. She has the attitude, the personality.
Is this Crippler's pick? Is this your Crippler's choice?
Yeah.
Okay.
These
Crippler's
right
choice.
For me, it's easy.
Let's go.
It's not super close.
Talk to me.
It's the first one.
Ooh.
Oh, this is a guy who's hands on clay. or digital clay, whatever.
He knows. He knows.
She's got this like heart-shaped face that just is how I always pictured. I always pictured Deja Thoris looking like her.
You did. You're right.
Okay.
So we need to make another one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Very exotic.
This subject has come up. We just need fan support. But like, there's no reason. If I could tell you the design for the original, we kind of scaled back the first one, but I'm super proud of that piece. I mean, it's one of my favorite pieces I've ever worked on. But
beautiful piece. Yeah.
Beautiful.
If we revisit it, it's going to be awesome.
We need to revisit it because I was supposed to get a copy of that one, and somehow I never did. So we need to revisit it.
I had it for a while.
I love it.
Piece. It's a gorgeous piece.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's absolutely beautiful.
That was
like beauty. It's beauty in yourself. It's beauty.
We really did that on purpose. We were going for like classical sculpture. Speaking of marble and stuff like that, we absolutely researched classical, Renaissance, Greek, Roman sculpture. That pose has actually got a name. It's called.
That might have been the first project you and I worked on together.
I think
what's it called? Yeah. What's it called? The pose?
It's called an odalisque. So it's a very common pose. I won't go into it, but it's a reclining nude or semi-nude, and there's something just really elegant about that. And
like your girl from Titanic.
Oh, right, exactly. Yes, yeah, exactly.
Rose.
Yeah. I mean, we wanted to like that. That's why she's kind of got the gun hidden. Is it looks like an odalisque from the front, but she's gonna f you up if you.
Yeah, then the look on her face. The expression on her face.
Yeah.
You give a shout out for her.
Yeah, she's
going Jeff Delaney in the house. Secret sanctuary himself.
So Will, in English, it translates into divorce.
Okay.
I'll be displaying this up on the TV.
I know, right? So when Will gets to put hands on the next Deja, watch out. He's already it's already cooking.
This next year is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, we've already worked on and are planning to work on, and some of my favorite stuff. I'm at liberty to tell you that the third Pulp Vixens has just finished being painted, and it's my favorite.
Some of the sexiest stuff you're doing right now. Some of the sexiest stuff Sideshow doing right now.
I literally just saw the full finished assembled paint of the third one yesterday, and I'm really super proud of it.
So all right, we're gonna do some speed rounds, and then we're gonna get as much information on STATUECON from the gatherer of hobbyist collectors, Marcos himself. But we'd be remiss if we didn't ask him about some of the beauties that he's been sculpting this last couple of years, if not longer. Tell us about this piece. What made you guys come up with such a dynamic, in the office, multitasking, agile beast as this one right here?
That design came fully formed a bit to us. Sometimes they are just an idea, sometimes it's just a name. Like for Deadpool, they just said, we want to do a Deadpool. Do you have any ideas? This one was pretty well resolved. My only contribution to it was we helped with the pose. I helped settle in the pose.
So you were designing. So when we go through these pictures, you can let us know, because I know you either were sculpting it or designing it, and you could let us know the difference between what that work was. Yeah. But go ahead, Anthony.
It would be partly design, because I didn't really sculpt anything on it.
On this one, gotcha.
Yeah.
No, what I was saying is a very controversial pose.
Yeah,
that always seems to be in the collector community. It's still being debated back and forth whether it's
wait until it comes out though. You'll see.
I was shocked. I was on
everybody needs to see it in person. It's a very odd thing to see in photos, no matter what angle you see it. I know there was a video that went up recently, which you get the gist of what's going on, but it's one of those pieces that's very hard to photograph, but when you see it in person, it's very different because you don't get all the weird foreshortening, and it's just such an alien thing to see in photos. Your mind's trying to figure out what's going on, but in person it looks great.
Yeah. No, like I was on seeing Casual Nerd Problem show Tuesdays 8 p.m. I was on a panel.
You guys are talking about it.
Yeah, I was surprised how many people were like, "No, it actually does look good." There was some talk about grayscale or paint and stuff like that. You probably heard, but other than
I've seen it, and I think with a lot of things that happens with that, because I know there's always talk where they go, Sideshow's paint is gray, and I'm like, gray? What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, can you shed some light on that? Like,
I think what's happening is that when we show videos, like say Cat painting something or Bernardo or Chi, they're painting in the paint room and they're working on the prototype. The lighting in that paint room, it's set up to where it shouldn't be dropping any shadow. They want the cleanest, brightest light in there to work from. So now we got our multimedia team in there filming. So everything is like ramped up, to 1,000 as far as what you guys are getting visually. By the time stuff's getting compressed and shot and color, corrected if need be to make it look as true as possible. When and then when you see stuff come in, say on these videos here, now they're being shot in the studio where it's it's lit in I wouldn't say moody, but more of a natural light. You don't have those clean, intense lights on it. So the light is kind of shifting. So a lot of times people are saying it doesn't look anything like what we've seen to begin with. And it's like, well, it doesn't. I'm not going to argue with that, because it's just like with anything else. If you watch a movie throughout the season, wherever or anything, everything shifts. Everything doesn't look the same.
Half of these fools don't know how to calibrate their TVs.
That too. We even run with that.
Don't invite me over if your TV's not.
Purple is like no torch mode. No torch mode.
If anybody works with say digital illustration or video games or anything, with the advent of Zoom and multimedia calling and everything, it even happens with us because Danny's not currently in the office yet, but we have meetings every morning and we go over things, and Danny looks at paint and I have to be the eyes for Danny because he sees things that he's like, that looks a little weird to me. Well, by the time we're looking at it on our monitor or not even a monitor, a TV in the room, Danny's looking at it on his computer, shit ain't jiving at all. So there has to be a sense of trust that, like, okay, you guys, myself, maybe Tom, one of the painters, you guys are going to say, does this look right? Am I seeing this right? Or am I seeing this wrong? And it's kind of the same thing that happens when you see behind the scenes and then obviously it goes through production. And of course it's going to not be 1,000% exact. It might be a little bit desaturated. There could even be changes that we make on the fly that we think don't look as good, and we might make changes in production, not drastic ones, but so there's variables. I know that even came out with like one of the where people see cat painting. I think it was on Will's piece, the Deep Down, where I was always catching people going, the octopus doesn't look anything like the final one, and I was looking at him like, what is everybody looking at? And this is one of those things, not to drag this on, but this is one of those things that I wouldn't say is problematic, but the cat's painting in progress. So she might be at a stage where she has to lay down super vibrant blues or purples or whatever. And people are seeing that and going, well, that's the finished thing. And it's like, no, she still needs to put some washes and subdue it, because we want it to be darker and more hidden. We don't want it jutting out from the base to where it's like all you see is a giant octopus and you forget there's a chick up there. We want it to be kind of hidden and moody. So when people see that, they take it for granted that while it was purple and bright and there was like, red rings and all kinds of crazy shit going on, and then they see the final piece and they go, that doesn't look anything like it. It's like, well, that was in progress. There was still work to be done. So it's that weird juggling of things that happen.
And to defend you, Kat and Will.
Well, I mean, it goes back to like the think where they say things look gray, and it's not because it's gray, it's because of the lighting from the paint room to the studio.
Is that piece going to be
as much
STATUECON
as you want on it in video and whatever? It doesn't beat seeing it in person.
Yeah, 1000%.
It have to. This is a visual product that blows you away in person.
Well, since you said that, Mr. Marcos,
is
that piece going to be at STATUECON?
Probably not. Cat Bane, I just got a ton.
All right, Marcos, you're fired.
But
I got 4 pallets from Sideshow, and I got to put them all up. So leave me alone.
I mean, with that being said, that could be something where I discuss, because I know we've already kind of tossed out there that we're going to have some stuff out there to show, which one of them is going to be Luke.
Let's get to it. You're gonna make. I don't want to skip over Cat,
right? But that's between the all stars in this panel and.
But I'm saying that it could be something where we get we have a beast that we might be able to send out there, and we have a production one out there that people could see. So I'll definitely.
People would love it.
There we go. I think it would be awesome if you are very tapped in and tuned into like what we like the temperature of what a lot of the shows are talking about. It'd be cool for us to get hands-on or eyes on some of those pieces that we could be like, yo, that beast in person though, it's not gray, or yo, it's fucking gray as fuck. It's bad.
That's the grayest fucking blue I've ever seen. Anthony's full of shit.
But it'll be cool for us to be able to see it. But yeah, before we skipped over too much, and I know we ran out of time. I don't want to hold you because we're at the 2-hour mark already. Cad Bane, tell us about this.
That was a blast.
Gunslinger.
I don't know what to say, but I saw the concept for it long time ago, and I don't often do this, but I said, if I don't do that, I'm quitting. like I want to do that piece. I loved it. I'm pretty open with my loves. I loved James Bond. I love Star Wars. Blah blah. Spaghetti westerns, in particular, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, might be my favorite movie.
Yes.
I mean, I love that movie. I have 3 life-size posters of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly on my living room wall. It takes up one whole wall. So anyway, and this has so much of that flavor. It actually combines 2 of my favorite loves, Star Wars and spaghetti westerns. There's no way to pass that. So, I mean, he's just. So the concept was awesome, and I was really into that. But then the process was one of my favorite sculpting experiences at Sideshow, because I worked hand in hand with Jorge Villar on this piece.
Jorge!
And again, it's really cool working with these young artists who are super enthusiastic, super talented, super generous. So like basically how we worked was I kind of roughed everything in, and then he did all of the detail work. So I would send him like, the jacket or whatever. And every time he would send it back and it was 10 times better than I expected it. And like, it just kept happening. I'm like, okay, do the hat now. Okay, do the glove. And it just, that was so exciting that it kept getting leveled up. Sometimes when you're working with people that you have never worked with before, you're struggling to get out of them what you need to get out of them. Not the case with Jorge. Jorge is I can't say enough good about him. So anyway, it made the experience so much fun.
Yeah, and he's credited as a sculptor on the Nihilist piece as well. So I think design probably Kacharik, and then I don't know what part he did, but like
I think what he worked on was the lightning the force coming out of the hands.
Oh god.
We had a small thing to play on that. That was mainly Kacharik's.
Yeah.
I think
That's right.
I don't think he did much more other than detail. He might have punched in some details on the base.
See, he's learning from Danny Bell too much. Just putting his name on shit that don't have no business putting his name on.
That's where I'm confused. I'm like, what is Jorge's name doing on this? Oh yeah, that's right.
Hold from in the crib, because Will, you just brought something up like you like if I don't do that piece, I'm quitting. Like, what is the selection process?
That's a great question.
Who sculpts what? Like they said, we're gonna put, who this.
They go out back and take their shirt off. It's like throw
down. It varies, but generally speaking, Sideshow is really good at trying to pair people with their loves.
Right.
Because you're just gonna get a better product if you love it, you know what I mean? And it doesn't always happen. I told this story a million times, but like Voltron, I couldn't have given. I just couldn't have cared less.
Voltron, watch what you say.
Voltron is after my time. I mean, I didn't grow up loving Voltron, and but Dave really
Use your
wanted
next words carefully.
No, I'm just kidding. Dave really wanted me to sculpt. Dave was Voltron is Dave's favorite character. This was his baby, and so he said, I really would like you to sculpt this, and I'm like, dude, this is a fucking robot made out of cats. Like, this is not.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, so to make a long story short, because I have told
you just had to be there. That's all.
He by the end, so I tend to try to fall in love and do fall in love with whatever I'm working on. So I watched the shows. I just got super into it, and by the end, I'm like, this is a fucking robot made out of cats, man. Anyway,
it's awesome.
Yes.
But generally speaking, it's best if the person loves it to start with. And we all love different things, some people are super into horror. That's not my first love. Some people are super into Star Wars or Marvel or, whatever it might be. And so there's people to choose from who are great artists who love this particular thing. And if we can fit it in their schedule, we tend to try to do that. However, every once in a while, something comes along like Cad Bane, and I'd never done a Star Wars piece, a full Star Wars piece, and so no one thought to even, bounce it off me. But I saw the design in a meeting not about this, and I was like, "Oh shit, what's that?" Like, I want to do that. So there are times when you just gotta dive on something.
We went over this, and we were comparing it to other ones that are out. And this one, the detail is freaking immaculate in here. From the way the pants are, the stripes, the little buckles, the robot, the flow of the trench and the motion that he has, even though he's standing still, is really well done.
Oh, thanks, man.
Really well done.
It was a tricky thing, because what we were shooting for on that one is being as true as we could to the source, to the animated source, but bringing it into the real world.
But don't make it like the TV show.
But not like we weren't looking at the TV show at all. We were just like, if we Sideshow was making a live action Cad Bane of the animated version, this is kind of how we would see it designed.
That's awesome.
I mean, we did stuff like, I know he's got like the thigh high boots in the animated, and we wanted to evolve that into a little bit more of a real world thing. And so we chose to put the straps of his guns at that exact same height and angle. So you still get that shape in there, but it's, like, see where the straps go across his thigh? That's the same. Yeah, that's the same angle as his boots are in the show.
Smart.
Yeah. So anyway, so stuff like that. We really tried to reference the animated original all the way through, and that was fun. It was a great challenge, and I'm really proud of that piece.
That's dope. And if anybody has questions for Will while we're going through these pictures, feel free to ask. The deep.
Yeah, I mean that's it's no secret that I'm a super fan of Scuba Girls. Going back to
who isn't?
This was a day one PO for me.
Of course it was, Chris.
Does anybody remember the Gentle Giant one that I did?
No.
With the big tattoos down her back. It was the honey trap.
The honey trap. Yeah, I've seen those.
Can you see it up there? Yeah. She's holding the big, spear there. Yeah. So that was my first.
Look at you! You got stuff up in there. You got some. You got nice.
Got a big old fish.
Don't even get me started on that effing fish. Oh my god.
It'll be for STATUECON. That's a STATUECON exclusive talk. Big old fish.
I went to Florida.
You got to say some stuff for STATUECON.
With my buddies. Went to Florida with my buddies. We rented one of those boats, and I'm like, I'm catching a fish, and I'm getting this effing thing stuffed. So we did that, and like when I grew up, stuffed fish were gnarly. I mean, like you had it was taxidermied and actual
cut
fish.
it and stuff it. Now they just
nowadays
head. It's a fiberglass body.
they take the teeth. They take the teeth and put it in a fiberglass body. So that is my trophy of how I lost $1,000.
Dang.
Yeah.
Critical Mass. You seen this piece?
Yes,
I remember
sir.
we debuted it.
Yes, sir.
You didn't hesitate. What was going through your mind when you seen it first, and how do you feel now that you own it?
Well, when I saw it with the teas, I'm like, oh, I need to see more. But right away, I knew I wanted it because it's got that old school Bond, James Bond girl in Carol, but she's handling her business, and this octopus has no idea what's about to happen to him.
Yeah, that tentacle is. She better blast him quick. That plane playing.
No, baby girl.
Not playing.
Baby girl's ready. She's got her diver's knife ready to go to work. So yeah, there was no doubt about this. I had to have it.
We definitely wanted with his whole line. Actually, we were referencing the pulp posters and book covers. You know, that sort of like captured moment. In a rectangle shape, just that pulp feel, you know. And so that was a lot of fun to do that one.
And I like the box art. The box art,
right? Yeah,
has that throwback 1960s.
That's my jam. Well, hopefully, my fingers are crossed. Please be honest. Tell me what you think of the third one, because she's going to be shown, I think, in 2 weeks, they told me.
Okay.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
You'll know how Critical really feels if he pre-orders it or not.
Okay.
Another Day one.
Be honest, y'all. Y'all visited some live entertainment establishments to prep for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When Kat walks in and sees your reference material on the screen,
Betty Page,
does she judge you at all?
The funny thing is talk about TMI. Here we go. So,
oh no,
I'm a reference junkie. I love reference. I can never have too much reference. It just makes it faster to get where you want to be with when you have the confidence of reference, right? So I myself pose for all the statues that I
even
do.
This one?
Oh
even
my
this
god!
one.
Oh my god!
Yeah, we need that footage.
Nice.
Ruined it. Ruined it for everybody.
I think Shane wants to see a picture of that.
It exists. All right, go ahead. Talk to
No. It's that. That's it. We're moving on. Next.
All right.
Hey, so yeah, I can see it.
To be honest, the reason that I pose myself for it is mainly because there's something different about, as a sculptor, being in the pose, because your body remembers that pose. And when I'm sculpting it, I can feel it. You know what I mean? and you it's amazing how that gets burned into your head. So I'm sitting there and you close your eyes and you can feel like, oh yeah, no, I got her knee wrong or whatever. And anyway, so that's why. That's why
it doesn't move like that, or this doesn't rest like this. Like you get to answer all of those questions, which is smart.
Yep.
But I need the Harbottle files.
Wait.
No, you don't want them, man. You don't want them.
Will,
shout out to Jesse who says,
did you?
What's that?
Bra? Did you put some extra?
I was just thinking that too. It was every
for that stuff. It's that I have other reference for things like that. And I'm just talking about the pose.
You overlap.
The pose doesn't matter.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't use his own breast
Well, hey, Will, what I want to know, who can I go to actually take the little pasties off and sculpt the real thing right now?
He can do it for you.
Just paint them flesh. There you go.
Yeah, they're sculpted under there.
They are.
Really?
Just rip it off right now on
No.
Live TV.
I will save you. They're not produced that way.
But we can restore it.
You could
rebuild it. Like $6 million man.
Wait, Anthony, when's the last time you did some painting?
Hey, we talked about it.
Everybody grabbing screwdrivers as we speak.
It all depends.
Yeah.
You get a screwdriver on that, there'll be a big key.
They're getting their flathead ready.
Wait a minute, you're gonna be on the FBI most wanted top 10.
Yeah. Don't drag me into your nefarious.
Hey, shout out to Big Fat Dude. This is one of my favorite people that I got to meet in real life, dude. Shout out K-Fat. He's a huge Star Wars collector too.
Big time.
What's up, Kevin?
Great guy too.
Jesse says Deja Harbottle.
All I know is I got a Photoshop I'll be working on tonight, and then
we got Carl in the building. Someone Photoshop Eric into this pose.
Don't let his me Evan get his hands on it.
I know. This was one of your first.
Yeah, it was
got that one too.
It was early, yeah. My first one was Batman. My first Sideshow was Batman.
Mm-hmm.
The Bale.
That was based off a movie, right? Yeah. Yep.
And then it was the Red Sonja with the snake.
Red Sonja is so
the one with the big snake. Yeah.
Yeah, because you quickly garnered the reputation for just making awesome looking. Because there's a lot of times that when we criticize female statues, usually because of the expression in the face, it's just you always capture an expression that seems like, it matches the pose of what she's doing, and then also looks like it has life to it in the statue, which is cool. Like there was a couple of statues that came out a few years ago, or revealed last year or a couple of years ago, and it was like a stretch of them from different companies, and it was just sort of like, how come Harbottle, like this being our conversation, like when Harbottle do it, there's emotion to it for some reason, and then sometimes you get somebody with a powerful pose, and they're just look at this there. How do you do it?
There's actually an answer to that question, and it's one of our designers, Ian, is the most brilliant illustrator of female faces that you'll ever come across, and his particular genius is so here's the process. I'll do a rough sketch based on, like, say, the concept, or maybe based on just the character from the comic book or whatever it might be, right? So I'll do a sketch and I'll send it to him, and he will take that face, and he'll make her pretty. And
outsource it.
What's different about him is most artists draw very similar faces again and again and again, right? But what he does is he'll take the face you gave him with the original personality and difference and whatever, and he'll just make her pretty. So how we do it is I'll send him a bunch of pictures of my sculpture, from different angles, and he'll do a draw over, making her pretty, and then I just use that as reference, and I just match what he gives me. So
that's collaboration at its finest.
Ian is the man. I've told him a million times, if he ever quits, I'm quitting, because that's
Will, you talking about Ian McDonald there?
What's that?
Is it McDonald? Is it
Ian McDonald?
Yep.
Ian McDonald. Shout out Ian McDonald.
The great white horse.
He's not far from me personally, but and I bugged him a couple of times to come on down. So
he should come down, man.
Hey, bug him.
He can bring, maybe next year or whatever, he can bring a whole different perspective, because think about it, he's coming from a completely different side than any of the rest of us.
Did you pose as Elektra when you did that?
Yeah, he did, dude.
Actually, that was before
he already sent me the file.
I started posing. So no, I did not pose for her. That was early. That was early enough before I figured out that I needed to do that.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's incredible.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, it's incredible. Yeah. I had that piece.
This is some newness.
Yeah, a little bit new. Yeah.
Talk to me about this one and the decision to go both sizes with it, both 1/5 and 1/4.
This one, it was okay. There's a little behind the scenes here. So this one was originally designed to only be the 5th scale with the comic book. And I'm risking getting in trouble because I'm telling you the true story here. I said there's no fucking way that I'm going to do a half of a Wolverine and a half of a Colossus if this is our only chance to ever do a fastball special, and people wanted a fastball special forever. There's no way. So I said, and they're like, but that, no, we really feel strongly about this. And so this was, I haven't had too many, big disagreements like this with the team. But this one I was like, well, how about this? I'll sculpt it both ways and we can decide later. And thankfully they went with both. So, awesome. With and without the comic and blah, blah, blah. And I think that ultimately that's the way that it should have been, and I'm really happy that we did that. That's awesome. If it had only been one way or the other, because once I was done, I was like, this comic book version is pretty freaking awesome. Like, I'm really glad that we did both. So anyway,
they're both incredible. Both incredible.
So, were you the Wolverine, and Daniel Bell was the Colossus? Like when you posed this,
I want to see those pictures. Were you like in a Chinese movie where you're on wires, like the Matrix?
So sometimes for things like that, it's just parts of the body, like so you just get like the lower half, upper half, that kind of thing. Because some of it's not realistic to try to get all together.
So Will, you posed for the abs, right? I'm sure you got the abs.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any potential of seeing this little beauty over at STATUECON?
That's
good, great
story, right?
That's the one that I was talking about. That'll be at STATUECON.
I just wasn't sure if I was able to say so. Yeah, was it confirmed? So
Anthony, you're the one saying this. I didn't get any confirmation.
Yeah, we're planning on taking that. Now, if you haven't got confirmation, that's because it's probably because there's been any confirmation yet. But I mean, the plan is that we want to take this, and if we take it, there might be, I haven't heard any confirmation because we'd be taking the prototype.
It's going to be the prototype.
Yeah. So it'll be that one right there. And the prototype is it's a prototype. It's a little fragile, this, that, and the other, but we want to take the prototype. We also want to.
I can't believe it. That's like a first in the history of Sideshow. Like, you can't even go in the room with some of these prototypes.
Yeah.
These things are like,
what's up?
Yeah, and we also want to take what we call a white, which is basically the raw castings that come from overseas from production that show what the piece looks like before it's painted, before it's put together, before the cut is put on. So it gives you kind of like an actual physical behind the scenes, not just a talking point. And the reason we want to do this is because I'm sure you guys have seen that Tim Hansen, who's our lead cut and sew artist, he's going to be there. And this is a perfect example. This is one of his most recent pieces that he worked on, and what went into that flight suit and everything else. To have it there, it's a perfect example of what he does in his department that he could explain and give a little bit of insight to and what goes into it and everything else. So we wanted to take that. Plus, it's an awesome piece and people are going to see it. And, you know, it's one thing to see it on tested or on our photos, but to see it in person, it's like
it's huge. It is like stupidly huge.
I get 1 second. Thor Gunderson's gonna bounce right now, but dude, it was a pleasure to get here and spend this time with you.
You got his nihilist question.
Yeah. No, I just want to give props on that one, man. Like, you know, I was laughing when Ventures came out, but yeah, man. Great job. Y'all doing great things, man. Again, I was the nihilist shocked. Like, this is how shocked. Like, if you walked in your living room and there's a polar bear standing there, that's how shocked I was. You know what I mean? But, hey, man.
Nihilist, bro.
Crips, appreciate you having me on.
Always,
ODB, AK.
Yes, sir.
You know, but, you know.
You were like Fred Sanford.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I gotta get up in 3 hours, so that's the only reason.
The fact that he spent this much time with us is much appreciative because I know you're busy on this night. So, thanks, Thor.
Peace, y'all. Thanks, everybody.
Good to see you, man.
Take care. With Thor Gunderson again, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I gotta start putting you guys to bed. So, Marcos, talk to us, man. 17th is fastly approaching. 7 to 10,
yeah, man.
Are you ready? I'm at the 7th.
4 pallets today. You know what happened today?
4 pilots.
So I got 4 pallets from the Sideshow, which a lot of them are for the show. And it didn't rain all day, except for me going outside and getting those pallets.
Of course,
it poured the entire time. I got them and put them in. As soon as I put them in, it stopped raining. It's a good sign. It's good luck. It's a good luck sign.
I'll take it as good luck.
It is
That's Michigan.
That sounds awful luck, but I'll take it as good luck.
Yeah, I'm still in the same shirt. I was, and then I went to 3 bars. And I came home,
gotta dry off somehow.
Yeah, so
if people don't know what the hell is a STATUECON,
come on, guys.
Tell us what is a STATUECON.
STATUECON, man. STATUECON, man. It's no fluffer, no filler. It is if you love statues and you love high-end pieces, we collaborated the best of the best of the best in the hobby and the best artists, best companies, best people, best.
Look at these people.
Can I tell you? Can I make one comment?
Absolutely, as many.
Dude, add a little resolution to your effing poster. You can't zoom into this thing.
You get so pixel.
It's all a mystery.
What's going on here?
It's all
blurry.
It's goddamn Richards. I don't know.
You know what? I wanted to keep it a little bit of a sense of mystery. You know, I think that guy was coming. I
demand more pixels in this logo. I demand more pixels in this logo.
You sent me this. You sent me this stuff on my phone, and I'm zooming in like I can't see what the hell.
What kind of phone you got? Well, come on. What kind of phone you got?
Galaxy.
Poor toy.
Galaxy what? A 3 or a 24?
Oh, poor Miguel. It's all pixeled
Anyways,
look at the diamond, man. Gem Mint never
that look like a diamond. That looks like zirconia.
Diamond's supposed to shine, damn it. No, Gem's supposed to
zirconia.
Say some shit, AK. Guys, say some shit. I know AK is gonna say some shit. Guys, say some shit.
I think he zoomed in on Gem Mint. I said Gem Mint's not looking very minty fresh right now.
Gem was very happy he's coming. Yes, a lot of influencers.
Lincoln coming back. Mess is coming back.
Yeah. So this is kind of like
I heard a boo. God damn it.
Yeah, we got a lot of
ECS up in the building.
Me, Evan.
Yo, this is what I'm most excited for right here. This is what I'm most excited for right here.
Some people
who is this woman?
People will change.
All 5 Dions.
There are still other people
5 Dions.
Oh, that's a man?
That's a man, yeah. It's like Prince. Yeah, you know,
see, this is the problem. Even Dion's already AI. Look at him.
But anyways, you want me to know what this is? This is so basically it's the Mecca of statue stuff. So we wanted to get a whole, a comic. It's not even really a Comic-Con. I know it's called STATUECON. Again, I'm trying to influence people. Come on in. It's more like a giant mixer, Q&A party celebration of what we do. It's our hobby. So That's what it is. I've been working on booths all day. This time, like last year, Anthony, you're gonna have a lot more sideshow stuff for sure. But you're gonna have a place where you can sit, film, and then all the other companies will have too. Iron Studio has a spot. All these other companies will have it there too. But of course, Sideshow doing what they do, they killed it today. They sent me so many other pieces. This is like wave one of like, here you go. Here's merch. Here's books. I'm like, Jesus, guys, what are you doing to me? Just Sideshow loves it. Just throw it on. And then Anthony's talking about wave two of their stuff they want to bring.
Yeah, and that's probably why the prototype probably wouldn't have been thrown on a pallet.
You wouldn't do that. No, you wouldn't do that. Absolutely.
No, Anthony's carrying that in his little briefcase with him.
Right.
Yeah.
That's Jesse's project. He gets to carry that.
He's got a seat for a crippler on the airplane.
I don't want nothing to do with the responsibility of taking that.
So basically, it's a giant mixer get together celebration, like I said. So it's 7th through the 10th, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Some people will be there Wednesday. Some people will stay until Monday. Whatever. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, there are private dinners. There's after parties. There's this. We're gonna have a great time. We're just going to celebrate everything we do in the hobby. If you're a fan or just a regular nobody knows you're a customer, a member, somebody who just heard about it, to a hardcore, to whatever. This is it. This is what we're trying to do. We're gonna, the diamond's there, but they're not there.
I'm like, you resurrecting the dead now? That's what we're doing.
Well, they we officially keep everything on there because you never know. You don't want to go back and forth, taking off, taking on.
Yeah,
you never know. Diamond has certain things, certain that. I mean, we're already kind of getting rid of a lot of their stuff and putting in, new stuff. Iron Studio is kind of taking over certain places. Oh. So does Sideshow.
That's a king of statues.
It appears to be.
We didn't swear fealty to these fools.
Okay.
We did not. Didn't we?
He's a great guy, man. When you meet him, he's fantastic.
The beautiful thing about STATUECON was meeting the people with the backdrop being statues and stuff that we love, but actually getting to have human interaction where these boxes are cool, but when you get to shake someone's hand, have these conversations and chop it up, and everybody was so helpful. Everybody was, just cross-pollinate. Like, we were like, in cool nerd stuff, they were in our stuff. It was just a bunch of just some awesome politicking in the best way.
It was really nice. I really like when we were doing the live YouTube.
Yeah,
and then different people would come in and rotate in and rotate out.
Yeah.
The plan is to even do that up even more. So,
so but the thing now is that it's. I think the attendance this year of last year is up. Minimum 50%. So you can see the growth. There's a lot more. We have a lot more media.
So Marcos. The mayor of Michigan, he should give you a key to the city.
I think that was the governor. Never mind. There's no mayor of Michigan.
Well, you know what I mean. Who's ever running the place? You're bringing revenue into the city.
Yeah, I wish they gave a shit.
Oh. It's cool. I've been seeing these guys here and there, so it's cool to see that we'll get to meet some of these.
What's the question before we go back to the mayor of Michigan?
No, I was just saying you bring it. No, you should get some type of medal or key to the city because you're bringing money into the city.
Okay.
Oh no, he's taking money out the city.
Oh no, I know that.
The common folk, we just sell
he's
toys,
taking money from us.
I think he's sending all his money.
The common folk, we're selling toys. It's a toy store. Okay. Yeah. Believe if you want to. Sure.
Dude, Danny is awesome. We finally had him on a show. I want to get him on a more show where we could focus, but just chatting with him when we did the Prime watch party.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's awesome.
And of course, these are just who a lot of the people were coming. A couple might cancel last minute, and there are other people that I couldn't even fit on here. So there's a lot, and there's companies that are sending, of course, prototypes.
I can make some suggestions for you, like if you want to remove some people.
Sure.
Like this one right here.
He's
not reliable. He probably not.
Robert.
Yeah. We can get rid of. Let's see. I like Toy Quest. I like Harbottle for sure. Mestas cool for sure. Cool. You know what? You can just wipe out a whole chunk right here.
No way.
No.
Those guys are great.
I will leave Domo and I will leave Dante and Hercules and Redeemer, and I'll leave Dirty. But Fatal you can wipe Fatal out.
As it stands today, DJ's gonna DJ our Friday dinner.
Oh wow!
Oh no, that's what I mean. Like that's why he's cool.
He's
like,
got
I think
to
the only
stay.
one that doesn't work here is Fatal. That's all I'm saying. And Cash.
He only
I
collects
don't think he
anime,
wants
so
his energy.
no,
The
we don't
last
want
time
that.
he came, he just brought the whole mood down. So I think
He was so mellow.
Oh, he was Captain Buzzkill.
yeah. So there
He
we
was
go.
afraid to talk to people.
We definitely need Adam because he scores all of the ladies. So
Yeah, he doesn't even try.
What about
I know,
Dion?
he's like a magnet. Dion?
Do you need
Well, we
Dion?
don't need 5 of them.
You
We
don't
just
need
need
5 of
one. House of Gog is cool. Metal. Metal. I'll be popping up in the chats now, so I want to meet him. I have no clue how he looks. I want to meet him. I want to look at their content. But no, honestly, H-Stats was there last time. We had a blast. If Keesis shows up, that'll be freaking awesome.
That'll be great. Piggy will be here for sure. Collective
Do you know
Minds,
who
that's the
said
new
they were
one.
coming from here?
That's a new one.
Yeah.
Yep. Jerry is it? Jerry will be here.
The Godfather
Jerry?
himself?
One in the
Yep,
middle.
Jerry will
Joe.
be there. Yep, just he'll be
Oh,
there.
shit. Yo, do you know we're gonna be throwing
Jenny's
hands?
thinking
Probably
about
try to
it.
beat me up.
Joe doesn't leave the house. He just kind of lives in his basement, so I don't know if he's
Oh,
coming.
P-Rock's gonna be there too. I seen it, P-Rock. I seen you, P-Rock, in the corner.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. So all these guys for like Will and Anthony, they're all like kind of like, you know, YouTubers or podcast guys or, you know, Instagram guys. And these are just special guests. I mean, this is not the public. I have so much more public. And this year, last year, we're doing the whole entire media blitz. We're doing a whole radio blitz, local. This is the first. I'm terrified. I really didn't want the public to know we existed, but now we do. So I'm going to get security with a kind of, you know, you ever play Command and Conquer? You know,
Oh my God, heck yeah, dude! My
you know, you
tank
go in the base and there's Tesla
strategy
coils.
is crazy. Oh, the Tesla coils!
I'm going to zap Tesla
Yo,
coils.
why didn't you tell me you game? You know what we could have been doing this whole time.
You know what was funny? Just because you said, "Oh, I really didn't want the public to know this." That it was Jesse and I think it was the first day, maybe second day. You know, we're exploring St. Joe's, going down there and seeing what's up. You know, and we went and grabbed some pizza at the I forget the
Silver
name of
Beach?
it. Yeah, down there at the train depot area there.
Silver Beach Pizza.
And we pop in there and we run into Martine and Danny and the whole family. And we're like, "Oh, holy shit! What? The whole family's here." You know, we didn't know they were going to be there. We say our hi and everything. Jesse and I saddled up to the bar, and we're having some beers. And there was some guy and his girl there, and they just keep looking at us and then he comes up and he goes, "Hey, are you guys artists?" We're like, "Somebody stick something on our bed, like what's going on?" Like, and we were just talking to him, and I don't know, he was somebody from like New Mexico or something. Anyway, he just was one of those chatty bar guys, but for some reason we put out some weird vibe that we were artists or something, and we talked to him for a while, and I think he was a tattoo artist, and he was just chit chatting, but we just thought it was funny. It was like, well, are there nobody that's artists in St. Joe? Like, what makes us stick out like a thumb? I mean, we kind of figured it out, you know, what's around, but it was like apparently something we were unique then, and they thought artists, either that or like hitmen or something that were going in there.
Right.
But, yeah, it was funny.
This is exciting right here because if Dion shows up and Alex shows up, and Alex don't stand on business for Gio.
Yep. We're gonna have a little ring in the bait. We're gonna have a ring in the parking lot.
Dion, Alex. No, I don't want them to cancel. I'm not gonna hype it up. I'm just gonna wait till we get there.
Hey, those Brits love to fight.
In the ring. I know.
Well, you know, seriously though, Alex is coming, and he's coming all the way from the UK.
Wow.
Yep, he's flying all the way. He thinks it's a very important event for the community. It's all about the community, right? Kind of just, hey, you know what? I love my hobby. People love this stuff, man.
Hey, dude, I'm stoked. I haven't been to Comic-Con since COVID, and this is like a chance to see people, talk to people. I miss that.
Yeah, and this is right to your hobby. It's not
right, exactly. Cut away all the S that you don't want.
And before Daniel Bell got too big to come down,
Yeah, he's too big now.
But shout out to Danny. But getting to meet Danny Bell, getting to meet Martin Canali, and also start building relationships with like Jesse and Mestas was awesome, because like Marcos would tell you, like, I didn't want anything to do with any companies or corporate. We're just here to have fun at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
But then seeing how like relatable they were, and it wasn't a bunch of PR speak, it wasn't a bunch of just like corporate, it was just us chilling and having fun. I was like, okay.
I should tell you, we had a little bit of a kind of a gathering, you know, just to talk about internally at Sideshow, to talk about the convention, and they flat out told us, don't talk like PR guys, just talk, just be yourself.
Yeah, be yourself.
Because we were curious, like, you know, since this is my first time there, and it'll
be Tim's as well.
Yeah, and Tim was in the meeting, and so they just said,
shout out to Tim
just
Master.
Be yourself. Don't worry about it. Don't don't overthink it. Just be cool.
There is no negative. I refuse negativity. There's constructive, positive, or.
But nobody was trying to put a lid on what we could talk about or anything like that. You know what I mean? They just.
Yeah. Crip, can you?
I was really happy.
Yeah.
Right. No, Will, you're right. You're absolutely right. When you get,
I think that's a testament to Martine and Danny being there, and kind of like they cut them loose, and it was like, wow, if you cut them loose, then Jesse and I are we're not going to be held to a different scenario. Then it's free, within reason.
Free for all.
yeah, within reason, but it's not like where you got everybody. You have to, you're freaking out like at Comic-Con, because it's like usually when they put it out there, first of all, you represent the company, which we still do.
You still do, right?
But I mean, we're there as fans as well, and nerds, and it's more of
collectors, man.
It's like an after party type.
It was dope. I love the vibe. I get icky vibes when dealing with like just even trying to deal like in corporate space, and it was these guys, original Sideshow, and everybody that was there, to be honest. And but the fact that Sideshow is one of the biggest companies in the world, and they were down in the ground with us, on our couches with us, or whatever chairs we had set up, or going out, just having conversations with the freaking Critical will tell you, like with the freaking fireflies going out. Sneaking up some product.
Like, what are you guys doing?
Crippler, I seen a ton of them the other day. They're all out, man. They're ready to rock.
Really?
Yep.
I'm trying. Like,
Crippler, go down to go all the way down where it says Sideshow, and then go left. You see where it says Solo Rogue One? The details.
Yeah.
Here? This guy. So him. It's not somebody I hired. Okay. He's a Star Wars actor. He does voice acting and stuff like that. He through the grapevine. This is the power of like just fandom, right? He saw something from somebody else about STATUECON, and he called me over from the UK and said, "I want part of this." I'm like, "Well, I'm not into hiring actors. You're not." I'm like, "I'm not here for that." And he goes, "No. I have somebody in town who I know. I'm gonna fly in, and I'll do some, autographs, and pictures are free and all this kind of stuff. And I'll just maybe charge a tiny little bit. But I don't give a shit. I just want to hang out with you guys." And he loves the art form. He says, "I love the statues," and he constantly follows the videos and all you guys. Yeah. And look at that. He told me to put me on the promo. I will be there. There you go.
I have contact with him because he's gonna play me in my biopic. So we talk and stuff like that.
And he's a fan. He's a great guy. I've been on the phone plenty of times, and he's a fan, man. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, yeah, come, go right. So remember,
he knows about the Mass Effects.
Yeah. I'm like, "I'm not hiring your ass now. I'm not an agent here." He goes, "I know. Don't worry about it. I'll be in town." Okay. Right.
That's cool. Like, and that's what it's about. But the only problem I have is that I found out that Danny and Martin Canali wasn't charging for autographs, but they charged me. Like, I was the only one that had to pay for autographs.
I told them to do that.
Well, that was after all the mad shit you were talking.
I know. And you see Canali beat me up too. Like, I got pictures of him abusing me over at STATUECON.
Anthony too.
Yep.
Punks. Jesse had you in a headlock. It was
terrible. One of my favorite people. I didn't know nothing about him. He seemed sketchy.
Mr. X, Miguel from Toy Quest, dude, Red Titan, Gem Mitt, DCX, Anthony Mestas, Cool Nerds. Dude, look at this. Like, need I say more? Like, if this is the community you guys vibing with, Ant in the building, Will Harbottle, Dan Richards, Nick's Cozy Corner, Adam, the Collector's Table, Xbox, get your video game shit out of here. No, I'm just kidding. I like video games. Metal Elf, dude, like Dion, Nerds. The Nerds of the Ring, they were there last time too. Pure Arts, Premium. This is Weta. I didn't know we had Kings, but I'm looking forward to vibing with them. There is not going to be any event, San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, that's going to have this focus of the amount of people that we engage with on a daily day or weekly, whatever it is, with the backdrop of these companies bringing us statues that we could get hands on without having to pay a ticket. That's freaking awesome. So I'm super stoked that you putting this together. I'm super stoked that Will Harbottle, Anthony Mestas is going to be there. I'm super stoked that Critical Mass, me working on it. We working on our plans there.
I know Chris coming. I know. I need you there, brother. I need you there.
I'm so close. I had a conversation with Critical Mass this morning,
Mark,
so I'm 99.5% going. So that's a good.
Mark.
That's good.
It's not gonna be the same with Crippler.
No, you need Crippler.
Here's the life part.
We have so many
man
new
lost
people.
his voice.
There's so many new people that I'm like, okay, fine. But when he told me, I was like, I need my boy. So
I'm wondering, like I'm working on it. If I could, it falls.
If you better hurry.
My daughter's birthday is right there, and then also the stuff she's going through at the same. So it's like, but we're working on it. I'm gonna get through it. Let's see that Thanos snap. Colonel Wonder autograph charge up. Hey yo,
Will be signing those at STATUECON.
Who's going to drink all the pineapple juice? That's right, dude. And this dude is such a gracious host.
Marty.
Like freaking Marcos was like, "What do you drink, Crip?" I was like, "Pineapple juice." Yeah. He had pineapple juice there. Whenever I needed pineapple juice,
I'm gonna do the same thing this year. I'm gonna ask everybody in about July what they're gonna drink, and I'll stock up the whole bar for everybody.
Oh man,
I love
Will, so you know.
And I love talking about this. Like anybody who knows me,
for new statues.
Yeah. Oh, hold up. There's gonna be girls, y'all.
Who are they?
That's my age range too. Right.
They're fantastic.
I'm not familiar.
Can't wait to say what's up to the fangirls over 40.
I don't want to say this without getting killed. Where's my wife? I don't want to get killed. Sometimes they just don't stop talking. You know what I'm saying? But they're very nice.
Nice. All right, cool. AK, you've been super quiet. I know it's part of it because I talk like a freaking motor mouth.
No, I'm fucking tired, man.
Tired?
I'm like half asleep. That's why I'm like.
Oh, look at that.
He's hanging in there.
He got Rashiditis.
Yeah. Hey, you know.
But I'm like, Rashid, I actually work.
Does that bust on Rashid? Oh snap!
Oh shit! Yeah, Rashiditis.
I like it.
Marcos, is there anything else you want to say?
Turn to the dark side. Turn to the dark side.
What do you want me to say?
That's shirt right there. I got Rashiditis.
The last thing I gotta say is dinners are almost sold out. It's the only thing you gotta really think about if you want your private dinners after the events. Just let me know because then I can put you on the list because I gotta pay for all these catering and slots. So that's all. That's it. I need people to let me know. That's all.
Cool. And also, and like I said, like I don't pitch anything. I believe in this event. I was there at this event. It was the time of my life in this collective journey. So the fact that we got to meet, not like Daniel Bells, freaking Canali, all of them are cool and it was great. But also, like I would love to see CMP there. I don't know where he's at right now, but like that Adam, like seeing the people that we do this with on the panels, seeing Critical Mass there, like in person, and then going out vibing with like Mestas and all of these people, that was awesome because we were doing it with the people that we normally do it with and talk to and interact with. Like the fact that we'll be able to just be on the same couch with Gem Mint and Alex and freaking all and Mr. X and freaking Casual, if Casual comes, come Casual, Caster Gemini, Fatal the Collector. Like these are all of the people that I personally interact with. So it's there's no other place that's doing that. So
man, I'm getting excited.
Yeah, it is amazing. I'm telling you, like Daniel and Canali could speak to it, but I know Mestas is right there. He could speak to it. Mestas, is there anything you want to say about the con?
No,
what could Will expect from going there from your experience?
I haven't really had a chance to talk to Will about it.
Yeah, we haven't talked at all.
When we were in our brief meeting that he talked about. But yeah, the main thing is I always want to tell, because when they hear con, I'm like, it's not Comic Con. It's not. It's basically not. Like Marco said, it's a place where similar minds and fans and I'll throw it out there, uber nerds of statues.
Yes,
it's very exactly focused. So the focus is number one on statues, but then everybody's taste. You got comics and movies. I mean, it's pop culture, but it's distilled down to statues, and it's great because at Comic-Con, when we used to go to Comic-Con, you waited for the people to come to you in hopes that they were going to interact and they might have something kooky to talk about or be off base or whatever. But everybody, it's so focused and distilled into this event, and it's very laid back. Jesse and I came waltzing in when we wanted to and hung out, and if somebody wanted to interact, so be it. We didn't feel compelled that we had to go and sal to anybody. What I mean? We're just there as like, hey man, what's up? Oh yeah, you're from Sideshow, yeah man. Oh, and then the conversations would just flow from there because everybody was interested in the same thing. There wasn't that awkwardness to go like, oh, what are you doing here? What do you like? And it's like,
that wouldn't be my bag. I'm glad to hear this.
Yeah.
And I knew that, but
I'm just saying that as in general, because I think a lot of people even here at Sideshow, they're like, what, you're going to a STATUECON? What convention is it? Right away they think it's, and I go, it's not that. It's different. So, but different in a good way, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you're gonna enjoy it. I the people are just it was the people, dude. It was the people that made it. It was freaking Marco's hospitality that enabled it, but it was all of the people's energy.
It also gives people like Will and myself and Tim. We don't go to Comic-Con anymore, and we're not seeing like competitors.
We're in a bubble.
Or other, not even I wouldn't say competitors, but other companies.
Collectors.
So that allows us to go in there and look at it and go, oh wow, this is what it looks like up close, or this is we're looking at stuff just like everybody else, as far as what's coming out. I
warn everybody now, it's bigger and there's more people. There's more pieces out there than there was last year, it's insane to think. And then it's more people. So
it's what a sequel should be.
Yeah. Sequel should be. Right. So
cool. Well, on that note, dude, there it is. St. Joseph's, Michigan. STATUECON 2025, August 7th through the 10th. Yo, if you guys could get there, it's going to be awesome. If not, totally understand. But I know that the event is going to be a blast. The Red Wedding, I don't know if there's going to be a sequel to it because I don't know how I made it out the last one. But Anthony Mestas, what do you want to leave the fine people of the c.o.c community with?
Hey, I'm looking forward to the show. I always have a blast coming on here. I'm here to talk, as opposed to what Rashid says that he doesn't want me to talk.
You will not be censored.
I'm not here just to be a pretty face. I refuse.
Because that'll be enough. But
yeah. No, I always have a blast being on here and sharing with you guys and being able to kind of give you guys some insight or answer any questions or get things back on the rail. And I can't wait till next time I'm on the show to jibber jab.
Awesome, dude. And we got some stuff cooking, like as far as a show, something different that's going to be unique and fun to bring to the people. It won't be Constructive Outrage. It'll be on Constructive Outrage, but it'll be a whole nother show. And the debut will be with Mestus and the boys. So I'm looking forward to it. It's excited. Marcos, did you want to leave anything? No, does it have to be STATUECON? He's out. All right. Critical Mass.
Me? Wait.
Okay.
Let him speak.
Okay.
Let him
Thank
cook.
you, Will.
Let him
Thank
cook.
you, Anthony. Well, no, thank you for you guys for spending 3 hours every time with us. So
No problem, man.
appreciate that, and thank you for putting this show on. And just there's a void again. I'm going to go back to there's a void going on in the community about maybe a turning of the guard, just changing of the guard kind of thing. That there's less and less YouTube channels doing what we do, and it does fuel the embers of the hobby. We got to keep going, because if not, it's just kind of whatever, people won't understand what this is about, and unless there's you guys fueling and fanning the fire. So thank you for everything you guys do.
Dude, I appreciate that. And but it's also there's a lot of companies thanks to companies like Sideshow that's providing new statues for us to get excited about, because there's not a lot of people really doing it right now neither. So it's the fact that you guys are doing it, it's awesome. And it gives us something to talk about, because without it, we don't exist.
We talk about the same old statues all the time.
Yo, how do you feel about your Thanos throne?
Yeah.
Years ago.
What
I
about
still
the
love it.
Magneto?
All of these years, I still love it. But no, not the fact that you guys are providing and showing, but at the quality level you guys are doing right now. I think this is some of the highest quality output. And when I say that, I mean it with the amount of quantity that's coming out. That's a hard balance to be able to produce so much stuff and just constantly have some crazy stuff. So yeah, it's appreciated. AK, let's get you to bed. You got anything you want to say? Are you going to be on Toy Quest 101 tomorrow?
I don't know.
Master Miguel must.
Listen, I have to wake up tomorrow and figure that one out. Right now, I'm just thinking of sleep.
Appreciate you, homie. I'm glad you were able to stick through, even though that you were so tired.
I'm just glad that I finally got to, hear and see Will Harbottle. I mean, he's the most interesting person.
It's a legend right
here,
there, bro. A legend right there.
He said Mestus.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Seinfeld? Michael always had his nemesis Newman.
Mestus. I love it.
Yeah. And Critical Mass. How about yourself, homie? Jury duty's done. You made it.
Oh no!
I think this is the first time you were.
I gotta go back tomorrow.
No, I think this was the first time that he's usually the first one in the backstage. So I know that jury duty must be doing it to you, boy.
Oh man, this is something. I got to break out the death note.
LA Court said Critical Mass is doing such a good job. He's going to stay for the whole month.
What?
They like me so much they're going to put me on another case.
There we go. Critical Mass, and congratulations! Not only winning Will Harbottle's casting of Deja Doris, you won Will Harbottle's, and you also won the community by a landslide. 73 Critical Mass, 26 Crippler. Give it up for that guy. Nice pick. I gotta give it to you. Thank you. And Will Harbottle, not even an ounce of tiredness or yawning. He was in it for the long haul like a G.
He's engaged.
He's engaged. Look at the muscles on that young B51 that you got on Will Harbottle. Dude, thank you so much for spending your time with us. It's much appreciated. I know you could have been doing anything else.
Thank you guys, man. Seriously, you guys were super welcoming, made me feel comfortable, welcome, and thank you so much. I hope to see all of you, in a couple months, and looking forward to it.
Dude, like I said, it's always a pleasure when you don't know what to expect, and then the best version of that happens to show up and you interact with it. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to get to STATUECON and you want to buy some hot statues that these people be cooking, you got to ask yourself one question and one question only. Where the what? Where the who? Where the money resides, ladies and gentlemen.
What the money reside? What the money reside? What the money